Greetings, my fellow Americans. This is your President Samuel Ronan speaking, and today is Recap Thursdays. We made it another week, folks, and my goodness, has it been a week. It has been a week, and you know what's wonderful is that the week just has not stopped weeking at all. No. The one and only Anna was able to help us create a stream list as well today. And wouldn't you know it, martial law. Martial law is upon us in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Out fucking standing. Am I right? Oh, good grief. Pop culture, welcome. Hello, fellow not brainwashed citizens, and hello, champion of the not brainwashed. Thank you. Did you ever think of changing the background to show the flag upside down? So the intent of the background, which didn't go over so well with this, I was trying to hide the chair, but that's not doing so good after all because this is green, is to showcase that we are in the Oval Office and that we are taking over. But it's funny you should mention that because I was playing around with a few things right before the stream started, which is actually why I started a little late, in point of fact. I guess I can't edit it while we're doing it, but let's see if I can do this a little bit live here. We're going to do a new source at the bottom here. All right, so what I was shooting for, what I was trying to play around with, was kind of altering the theme, if you will. When I get a little excited and I start wearing, Das Hut, right? I get a little revolutionary, right? So the idea would be that instead of blue, we see red. And then with the communist music playing in the background, socialist music, we are socialists, not commies. 63% of Americans actually support socialism, 33% support communism. So we are socialist. We can, play around with that, turning a little bit, So I have been playing around with, I've promised that I was trying to make this a bit more engaging and a bit more interactive. I was even working on listening to some of the revolutionary songs for the playlist. So, red hat, blue background, red hat, red background. Now, all of a sudden, we are streaming from the Comrades Oval Office. So, I don't know, I do like this. Just by changing the one background is pretty tasty. I like it. I didn't have enough time to actually finish, and I didn't realize I was linking stuff, but neither here nor there. Looks like we're getting started with this hat anyway, so suffice to say, your president is well aware of what the people want, and the people want change, and we are going to give that to them. Welcome to the stream, Ana La Diosa. I figured you'd appreciate that. I appreciate it too. I'm not going to lie. Like, when I saw that color red, by the way, this is the same colors that I used for when I created my game, Esoterra, The Awakening, which is on esoterrauniverse.com. Please check it out. Please buy things. Please check it out and get the stuff and things. It's the same background colors that I created for the initial batch. So, the artwork that I created back then is actually coming into play in politics, which, imagine that. So, we definitely have a lot to cover today. There's the martial law in D.C. MTG is challenging Israel, which she's still a horrible human being, but... and then, of course, global affairs and more. So we're definitely going to be catching up with the news. And, of course, like I said, DC. We're going to cover the fact that black truck... Hold on. I told you I was playing around, right? So, I'm gonna have to change a couple of these. See that? The rebel symbol? That's our campaign symbol, but it's supposed to be on red. And right now we're just not quite there yet. I didn't get the chance, unfortunately, to. I'm actually trying to design what we're gonna make the rebel flag look like. And that was taking a little bit longer. And now my computer's freezing on me. That's awesome. We always love a good freeze. There we go. Perfect. So that's what it should be. All right. Anyway, that's the stream we're used to, right? The plan was to make it this screen, but we are gonna. Well, you know what? Fuck it. We are just gonna start it right now. Or you can just ignore me. That's cool too, I guess. So, the whole plan behind this was to make a flag, a true rebel flag. Something that you guys might not be aware of, though, is there was this thing called the conservative statement, the conservative, values statement that was being promoted in Project 2025. Well, we also have one. And with that, I was going to create the stripes in the flag to be the text of our clauses, which we have 12. I could come up with a 13th one, so it's, American. But I wanted to do that, but then the other problem is then it gets a little much. So I'm not quite sure yet how I want to do that. Maybe keep the seal and put that flag behind me. I haven't quite figured it out. We could also let's go ahead and do that as a new source. And put that in the corner. Like so. And bring it down so we can see my lovely visage. And then what? It's like that. And then that becomes a new group. And that one is the one that we don't want. Right? Or let's make sure that's... Okay, yes, good. And then, we can play around with it. It could be a stronger theme. I think I have some flags around here. Do I? I do somewhere, just not in this particular folder. Damn, can it stop freezing on me every time I try and click to the other side? Anyway, you get the idea. I don't want to bore everybody with my terrible editing here. So let's just get straight into it, and we will figure this out together.
Got safety protocols? Granger has the safety pros.
Awesome, with our ads already.
Right now at 5:30, a new video coming in overnight showing FBI and DEA agents on patrol in Georgetown.
Notice immediately, right off the top, not a single person wearing a mask. These boys are very proud of showing up where they are not wanted or needed.
They are just some of the hundreds of federal law enforcement officers that have been positioned in D.C. in response to President Trump's crime crackdown. Thanks for being with us this Wednesday morning. I'm Adriana Hopkins.
And I'm Melanie Hastings.
Oh, so this was literally yesterday.
White House official says since the federal takeover of D.C., police on Monday, the 60 arrests have been made so far.
Well, that includes arrests.
Are you fucking serious? They just started taking over D.C. as of yesterday and have already made 60 arrests. Folks, that's not normal. There is no way that there were 60 criminal activities in a single fucking day after the president decided to take over. Like, anybody who's believing that, I have some snake oil to sell you, because that's literal fascism. Like, we can't even pretend otherwise. Jesus.
Gun offenses.
This isn't even 30 seconds into the fucking video.
And others.
And hundreds of members of the National Guard are also deploying to D.C. This is video of some troops near the Washington Monument last night. Their mission is to support local and federal officers as President Trump takes aim at what he calls out of...
It's literally posse comitatus. The military is literally not allowed. It is legally not allowed to engage with civilians in law enforcement activities. It is literally in violation of the Posse Comitatus Act. And every single member of the National Guard is violating that law. That is obeying these orders. Like, again, the criminality of this administration should be more than enough to have them forcibly removed, and yet it's not happening. Trust and believe it will happen sooner than later, especially once I get into Congress. Riddle me this. Why would you go into a place with low crime and tell people you are there to stop crime? It's most likely homeless people. Exactly. Why would you deploy the military in the nation's capital, which is in violation of the law in the first place, and then make 60 arrests after commenting about how you don't want to look at homeless people? There is literally only one thing that's happening right now.
Control crime in D.C.
Well, 7 News' John Gonzalez is live at the D.C. Armory, where about 100 National Guardsmen filled out the necessary paperwork ahead of their local mission.
That's right, Adriana. Good morning. And staffers here at the D.C. Armory tell me that they are expecting very long days with a lot of overtime, similar to what they saw back in 2021 when the J6 Capitol breach happened. More than 25,000 D.C. national.
So, the last time there were this many military and police on the ground, which again, we are going to keep saying, the military should not be and is legally not allowed to be working with law enforcement. We need to repeat that over and over and over again. That being said, the last time this happened was during the January 6th insurrection. The January 6th insurrection, which is again now happening on 8/13/2025, because this was yesterday. So yesterday, the sitting president launched an insurrection against the country that they are currently presiding over. Are we picking up what's being put down right here? We have states with high murder rates that Red Overlord won, and he's not touching it. He didn't send it in then. No, and not only are there cities and states with higher murder rates like Arkansas, specifically the murder capital of the world, if not specifically the country, but it might also be the murder capital of the world. It's all about showing force, and it's all about political antagonization. Right? He doesn't want to antagonize red states because they're already his ally. He wants to antagonize blue states to turn public opinion against them. And we are literally seeing the first stages of that consolidation of an authoritarian takeover here in D.C.
Guard soldiers were activated to secure the Capitol. Well, this time around,
yeah, I wouldn't look at the camera either, buddy.
Soldiers have been deployed here locally, and many of them started arriving yesterday while our cameras were rolling. The Guard and federal agents are part of this rare mobilization, and Mayor Muriel
illegal
says she wants to make.
And this is the part that kills me. This is such a small screen too. Jesus Christ. It's a small screen for me, I should say. This is ABC News. And the one thing they are not saying is how fucking illegal it is. Have they once said anything about the Posse Comitatus Act? Not once, have they? I keep saying act. It could be... See, now I'm doubting myself. Posse Comitatus, which is Latin. Oh, it is the act. Okay, I was right. Okay, cool. Check that out. Bam! I'm going to go ahead and copy that link for everybody to enjoy as well. from U.S. Code Text 18, blah, 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 blah. The Posse Comitatus Act is a United States federal law signed on June 18, 1878 by Ruther B. Hayes that limits the powers of the federal government in the use of federal military personnel to enforce domestic policies within the United States. So, I mean, it's been a law for well over a century. For 150 years, this has been a law, and this administration is violating it over and over and over again by deploying the Marines in California, deploying them at the border, and now deploying them in D.C., although I'm certain they've deployed them elsewhere as well.
Make the most of it. She sat down Tuesday with U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's now leading this public safety effort here in the district.
There are opportunities for us to build upon our community engagement with our federal partners who work with us every day, and this is the time for us to do it.
So she is literally bending over backwards, licking the boot that is literally standing on her neck. And she's a black woman! Does she really fucking think, by capitulating to this administration, that she's going to be spared when those boots do eventually come for her neck? Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, this is literally... How many fucking steps of fascism are there? There's the consolidation of power. Then, like, to be a dictator. Then there's the consolidation of authoritarianism and the institution of martial law, where it steps 4 out of 10 or whatever. And once that happens, we go into the next phase, which is the consolidation of the white supremacist ethno-state. Like, we are months, maybe years, if we're lucky years, January 21st, 2027, we are that far away, hopefully long enough for me to get into Congress and put a wrench in this business before we start rolling back everything to a true ethno-white supremacist state. And everything else is already happening at an extremely rapid level.
Focused on is the federal surge and how to make the most of the additional officer support that we
So she's also capitulating. The fucking mayor of D.C. is also capitulating.
have.
What's the point? Oh, okay. No. Now it's, actually, I kind of like the red better, honestly. The red does sit better, doesn't it? I think it pops more, actually. No, I'm sorry. Getting distracted here. What is the point of electing not 1, but 2 black females into the highest positions of authority in Washington, D.C., shattering the glass ceiling, if at the first sign of resistance, they roll over on their backs and present their necks for the boot to step on? What's the fucking point? You may as well have elected the white man that was going to do this shit anyway. But now, the black women who are supposed to be allies, who are supposed to be your heroes, who are supposed to be your leaders, are weak and feckless cowards? What the fuck is that shit?
Now, Pam Bondi did not go on camera yesterday, but did say in a statement that she found the meeting to be productive and pledging close collaboration with D.C. officials. However, there's already plenty of opposition. The group Move On says more than 29,000 people, residents here in the district, have already signed a petition calling on Congress to stop what they call a militarized takeover here in the nation's capital.
Which is, the fact that there's 29,000 signatures just like that proves that people absolutely can organize and should organize. And the fact that they're not, or the fact that it takes something like an actual military occupation from your own fucking country is scary. It is a little bit too fucking late at that point. If the military has boots on the ground and then you write a petition to say get rid of them, you are depending on the very people who allowed that to happen to have a conscience enough to respect the will of the people enough to do the thing they should have done in the first place, which is prevent that from happening. Once the soldiers start marching and once they start turning their attention against the civilian population, the likelihood of a democracy surviving historically is days, weeks, or months at best. And don't get me wrong, I definitely want to be in Congress. I definitely want your support. We are definitely going to fight back. But there is going to be very little democracy left to fight for by the time I actually get into office. We are going to be fighting a revolution by the time I get into office, which is fine. I mean, I got the hat, I got the cigar, we got the nice background. We got even the revolutionary colored lightsaber. I mean, we're good to go, but that's also not the point. The point is, we shouldn't be having to fight a revolution in the year of our Lord 2025.
Live, John Gonzalez, 7.
Oh, hold on a second. Did I read that correctly? Ana La Diosa already has her revolutionary outfit. Can you? Am I doing that right? There we go. Wendy's and McDonald's have reported a drop in breakfast sales. Well, no shock there, because 60% of Americans and climbing are living in poverty, which means people already can't afford basic necessities, let alone eating out. And on top of that, businesses like the dollar store and the Dollar Tree are losing revenue because people are too poor to even shop there. In either case.
Now, we've been telling you crime is down in D.C., specifically violent crime, which is down 26%.
And that too, Anna.
Same time last year. But for many, crime is still top of mind. U.S. Attorney for D.C., Janine Pierce.
Yeah, because dumb motherfuckers like you keep perpetuating the myth and the lie that America is a lawless wasteland because you just parrot the conservative talking points instead of reporting the fucking news. I mean, I would say the truth, but I mean, I think that might be asking a bit too much. But if the truth is there is less crime, then fucking report that. Be like, Congressman Snuffy has erroneously claimed that crime is up when in fact crime is down. And stop giving them a goddamn platform. I am losing my shit already, and we are 24 minutes into this thing. Anna's bringing sexy back to revolutionaries. Sorry, Sam, I know you tried, but Anna always wins. Listen here, I can be sexy.
Pushing back on the reports that crime is down, she references data showing 23 teenagers were shot and killed in D.C. last year, and 16 have been shot and killed this year.
You tell these families crime has dropped. You tell the mother of the intern who was shot going out from McDonald's near the Washington Convention Center, oh, crime is down. You tell the kid who was just beat the hell and back with a severe concussion and a broken nose, crime is down. No, that falls on deaf ears. And my ears are deaf to that.
So it is worth mentioning, that's the rhetoric that is the propaganda that is perpetuating the myth that crime is skyrocketing. Now, I personally do not know right off the top of my head what the population of DC is, but we have the internet. So DC population is 702,000 people. And there were 60 killings last year. Which is, I mean, that's not an insignificant number. I'm definitely not dismissing that. 60 divided by 702,250 is 8.54 times 10 to the negative fifth % of the population who is a victim of these crimes. Now, why does violent crime happen? Why does any crime happen? Poverty. If people are desperate, if their needs, their material needs are not met, they will resort to crime. Whether that's theft, whether that's robbery, or whether that's engaging in criminal activities in order to acquire resources to purchase goods and material needs. So, those 60 murders are the fault of Congress, the mayor, and law enforcement who are not providing a stable, thriving social environment for the 702,000 people that live in Washington, D.C. Now, we could do all sorts of other statistics. How many homeless people? How many working poor? How many unemployed? How many middle class, low income, blah, 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 blah. We could go through all the demographics. And at the end of the day, if DC is reflective of the rest of the country, then that means 60% of these 702,000 people are in poverty, whether they're working or not. And that, folks, is the problem. That is why we have the colors. That is why we are fighting back. That is why we need socialism, or at least socialist policies like Ronanism. Who said that? That is the reason why shit is the way that it is. You cannot have a thriving society that is free of lawlessness if you are living in a lawless society that forces people into poverty. Forces. You don't accidentally put a population, 60% of the population into poverty. That's not an accident. That is a deliberate action taken by the state and policymakers to ensure that they are in poverty. Likewise, you can do policy platforms and provisions and legislation that ensures that 60% of the population never falls into poverty. That 100% of the population never falls into poverty. Those are called social safety nets, like Medicare, like Social Security, like universal programs, like raising the minimum fucking wage, like regulating industry, like ensuring that no company CEO or whatever can make over 6,000 times the amount of the lowest paid employee, which we also went over. So no, folks, the crime that's happening in DC is a policy failure, and you don't fix a policy issue or a social failure by throwing in more police. Never mind the military, which we have just covered as being highly illegal and has been highly illegal for over 150 years. So, Judge Janine, whatever, she's really good at talking tough, but in reality, she is advocating for martial law and the militarization of society, which is not okay. It's just not. And now we're going to criminalize poverty on top of that? Also not okay. Has never been okay. Never will be okay. Because poverty is a policy issue. It is a result of policies. Poverty does not exist outright. Poverty exists because it is manufactured, especially when we have the ability to feed, clothe, and house every single human being on earth. Never mind the United States of America. Pirro brings shame to the justice system. She absolutely fucking does. That bitch is always drunk and her face is melting. That it is. Oh, wait, can I actually read that tiny font? No, not really. Gnome wannabe. And Gnome herself is a fucking... who did we figure out that was? Christy Gnome is the SS person, right? So that would be Himmler, right? Who was in charge of the SS? Not interested in the AI mode. It was Himmler. All right. So Gnome is a Himmler wannabe, and Pirro is a Gnome wannabe, which means she's also an SS wannabe. Both of those people want to be the SS so bad, except Stephen Miller is the only motherfucker, except for maybe... Is it Tom Hoagland? Tom Holland? Something like that? Between him and Stephen Miller, one of those two really got the fucking Nazi SS leadership persona down. Like, they could get an Oscar for their performance. Except, it's not a performance. They truly believe in their racist, violent, and reprehensible rhetoric. Which is why I look forward to executing them one day. Let's see. Oh yeah, high five with a hug. Okay, I don't know what that was about. I can't high five. Sam tried to teach me. It worked for a bit, and then I went back to being unable to high five. Oh, so if you don't know how to high five, when the person when they raise their hand, it gets a little scary when you raise your right hand. When they go for the high five, right? You can see their elbow. All you got to do is look at their elbow and aim, and you will be able to do the high five movement. On Sam's show, the impossible is possible. It do be like that. Oh, a gnome wannabe with the... No, but she's also a gnome wannabe with trying to be fashy. But you can't do it anymore. Well, you need to practice. Isn't your daughter taller than you now? So, I mean, you should be able to do that. I'm lowering my hand to accommodate Anna's height, but it's still a high five. Right. It would still be a high five if I was on my hands and knees going like this. I like to talk a lot. Hello. You and Anna are going to get along great because you both like to talk a lot. Oh, goodness. All right. So, wait. You know, I'm not going to lie. I kind of, I'm so used to doing the keybind for the blue version, but, like, I got to admit, the red version just, it's that je ne sais quoi. Am I pro-Palestine? I mean, it is the first two words in every single title of every single stream we have done. So yes, we are very pro-Palestine, to the point of we are pro-Hamas at this point. Hamas is a freedom-fighting organization that has been recognized by the United Nations as such, and therefore cannot be a terrorist organization, as they are the only entity actively resisting the ongoing, active, and abetted genocide being committed by Israel against the Palestinian people. So, we are as... If I had a keffiyeh, which I don't, which is unfortunate, if I had a keffiyeh, I would start wearing that consistently in streams. I think I'm going to start wearing this consistently in the streams as well, for the aforementioned reasons. And right, we're either vehemently pro-Palestine or just exceedingly anti-evil. Either which way, it amounts to the same thing. I said that I'm pro-Hamas on Facebook and my comment got taken down. Yeah, Anna, do not say that shit on Facebook because you cannot afford to have your account permalocked again. I need your help on social media. Stop ruining it. God almighty. You make me want to actually like this thing. Stressing me out, I swear to God. The only terrorists are the IDF. The only reason why people say it often is censorship. No, that is 100%. Israel is 100% a rogue terrorist nation with nuclear capability, and they have been. And it's really unfortunate how little we actually know about Israeli history, which is the fact that Nakba happened in 1948, and they have been terrorizing Palestinians ever fucking since. They are a modern-day colonization state. And the worst part is, what Israel is doing to Palestine is literally what the United States did to indigenous peoples, what Spain did to South America. What we did in our own history is exactly what Israel is doing to Palestine, except there wasn't the internet, Twitter, and 4K television back then. But there is now, and we are seeing exactly what we were like then through the lens of Israel, and rather than condemning it wholesale, every Western nation is trying to cover it up and aid and abet. In my country, you can be arrested for a year for anti-Semitism. Well, hell, you can get arrested in this country for it, too. I spelled Hamas like this to avoid the censors. But please stop toying with it, Anna. I'm begging you! When Anna is locked down, can't comment or post, the planet cries because we lost a dear, dear comrade. Because we are socialists! Also, I did work on the playlist a little bit. for our viewing and listening pleasure as like background music to the conversationing. I don't know how loud it needs to be, but I figure while we're talking in this screen, we can have a little bit of ambiance in the background. The Netherlands. Oh, so you're another Netherlander, which reminds me, I need to do the translating thing. It's funny because I have the translating module, but it's its own little tab, and so I always forget to activate it. Yeah, you hear it, but is it overpowering? Because it's kind of a little overpowering. There we go. Just take it down a little bit. Yeah, that's true. Where is Apolitical at? He's been no contact. Radio silence. Who the hell has the authority to determine what is anti-Semitic? Apparently, Israel. And apparently every country and government that is in the pockets of Israel. Because, again, anti-Semitism is not anti-Israel. Anti-Semitism is against anything against the Semitic peoples. Predominantly, sure, fine, it's been targeting Jewish people, but Israel isn't a Jewish state. It's not. It's a Zionist state. And I will die on that fucking hill. Israel is Zionism. It is not Judaism any more than ISIS is Islamic. It just isn't. And the more we can talk about that, the more we can push the narrative that Israel is Zionist and not Jewish, the faster we can start undermining this whole anti-Semitism nonsense. My friend got arrested for saying this statement in Dutch. Kankerjood to some genocidal idiot, which means cancerous Jew, and that was enough for an arrest. Yeah, but in their defense, that was anti-Semitic because again, you targeted Jewish people. You said you are a cancerous Jew. That is a slur. You are literally using the Jewish faith, that identity, in your slur. It's like if I call a woman a bitch or a cunt or a queer person a faggot, or a mentally handicapped person or a neurodivergent person a retard. It is a slur. So that is anti-Semitic. But to call them murderous scum, to call Israelis murderous scum or Zionist filth, not anti-Semitic. I wouldn't say that, but that's crazy to go to jail for it. Well, it's crazy that white people can use the hard R against a black person and not go to jail. When we have a history of racism, fought a war to try and preserve racism, no less, which seems to have ultimately ended up being in their favor anyway. So, like, yeah, it's not surprising that in other countries you can go to jail for that kind of stuff. If we have time tonight, Sam will show us the part about New Jersey adopting a policy that can arrest parents if a child is caught breaking the law. Oh, yeah, but hasn't that been ongoing for a while? What's it called when you leave school when you're a kid? Truancy. Truancy has... that's been making an uptick. If kids aren't at schools, like poor parents are getting arrested because their child is skipping school because they're acting out or whatever else. Yeah, well, I don't doubt that you've been called slurs. It sucks being a woman, let alone brown, in America. Kamala loves those laws. Yes, she does. No, I get, but here's the thing. If you use Jew or Jewish or Jews as a slur, it is anti-Semitic. Like I cannot stress that enough. If you use Jew in any other way other than to describe the Jewish people, like that person is a Jew from wherever, if you call it's like you filthy, then that becomes a slur. Like I don't really know how else to explain that. I also am not trying to say the phrases in case somebody tries to clip it. Although I guess with enough video editing skills you could clip it anyway. But that's also not the point. The point is, if you use the word Jew as an insult or as a slur, it is what it is. We do not condone that shit on this channel. You can be pro-Palestinian, you can be anti-Israel, but that does not mean you can be anti-Semitic. No, what it should be is a misdemeanor. I mean, all slurs, all discrimination, all derogatory language should not be protected under free speech, right? It just shouldn't. Because it's threatening. It is dehumanizing. If I walk to a black man and call them the N-word, that is dehumanizing. That is intrinsically a threat. That is intrinsically letting them know I do not value their existence as a human being. It's the same thing if I use the S word against a Hispanic person. It shows that I do not value them as a human being. That is a threat to their life and their safety. So no, I don't think any slurs should exist and should be treated as a crime. Now, First Amendment purists in America, they'd lose their minds. And personally, I don't know if passing the law would be smart, like just because I personally believe it, because maybe after I'm out of office, some other motherfucker president decides to be like, well, anything that's slander now is a crime. Anything that I don't like is now a crime, which is what this administration is trying to do. So on the one hand, you need unfettered free speech so that, you can't criminalize all speech. And on the other hand, there has to be social consequences. There has to be consequences for discrimination and for slurs and for that kind of rhetoric. There just has to be. Excuse me. All right. Gonna have to figure out a way to maneuver the music a little bit better. DC advocates... What do we got here? Plan to remove homeless encampments. No, that's something we also need to talk about because a lot of what's happening with this occupation of DC is a direct result and antagonization of the homeless. Which again, as we discussed, is a policy choice. And again, the homeless are homeless. They don't have anything. They have nowhere to go. They have nothing that they can do, no place where they can go because they don't have money. Or if they do have money, they don't have enough money for shelter. And that's the point. Going after homeless encampments is literally the most inhumane thing any government or any country could possibly do. Because again, it's a failure of society, of government, of the institutions and infrastructure for allowing this to get to this point in the first place. Nobody should be homeless and living in poverty in the wealthiest nation on earth. Hold up. She showed her true colors. She is on Times Magazine. She is no diva. Who are we talking about, True Steel? Why are you calling Zoran Mamdani a she? We just had this conversation. We're not using slurs. Oh, did it autocorrect? That's fine. Well, not fine, but... Oh, god damn it. Now we're going to get copyright struck because Eminem's playing in the background of this video.
Is to help people, is to house people, is to, make connections with them.
Yeah, probably about 6:30.
No, I meant calling the pronouns. That's what I was getting at. So this isn't discussing shit. But suffice to say, the crackdown, the militarization of DC is in large part due to the homelessness issue. In fact, the last time I visited DC, which, gosh, must have been back in 2017, 2018 timeframe, there were homeless people literally right across the street from the White House. So, like, if you're standing on this side of the street, there are homeless people. And if you look across the street to the White House, they are literally right across the street. So, I mean, if the solution to homelessness right across from the White House is to send in the military to arrest them and send them to concentration camps, like, we have failed in significantly more ways than just the policy that allowed homelessness to come in the first place. No, we just need to figure out ways to slander people without being discriminatory about it. Zoran Mamdani, no, it is Mamdani. Well, now I'm confused. Is that how it's spelled? Shit. It is Mamdani. Okay. All right, got confused there. Anyway, Zoran is a significant letdown, and I'm pretty certain he is a sleeper agent for the Democratic Party who is going to turn into the next AOC. But instead of getting into Congress, he's going to get into the mayorship of New York City and then just slowly devolve into being a neoliberal shill. He has all that money but won't build them homes. Right. So Trump has actually regained a lot of his lost wealth and is probably an actual billionaire again. And instead of using any of those resources to help the people of the nation, which, again, it's not as if Trump doesn't have unilateral authority and control over the federal government or influence over his supporters, that he could unilaterally do great things that would benefit the masses, and people would genuinely be endeared to him for doing so. He chooses not to. He chooses to be a dictator. He chooses to be a malevolent piece of garbage in spite of his ability to do good. Oh my God, my knee. I gradually lost my trust in him when he started hanging around corporate neolibs, and it wasn't helped by what he did when you spoke to him. No, exactly. We met the man, and he was like, "Don't talk to me. Don't look at me." It's like, you're too leftist. You're too much of a And it was like, bro, you just gave a speech being pro-Palestinian. I'm pro-Palestinian. I'm trying to run for something here. We could be working together. And he's like, no, I do not want any affiliation with you. I don't want any affiliation with anybody here, or the fact that I just went pro-Palestine. I'm like, bruh. I know you're like, well, he isn't a very tall person, but I was like, bro, you have a spine, fucking stand on it. Nobody can be a leftist here. Yeah, well, and I'm not even saying I'm the most left-leaning person in chat right now. I'm probably the most right-leaning leftist in chat right now. I'm probably the most I believe in a central structure, right? I believe in that central infrastructure. I do believe in hierarchies and stuff. I believe that, unfortunately, we have not evolved past the point of needing them. But, like, guns, pro-gun, I like me a stogie, right? I think the death penalty definitely has a purpose, and I think I can list at least 535 reasons why we would want one. And that's just off the top of my head. There's another 9 that we could think of. There's however many dozen we could think of. And then, I mean, there's at least another... Once you start throwing in judges and attorneys and CEOs and C-suites and billionaires and hedge fund managers, once you start adding them all up, I mean, my goodness, it starts getting into the tens of the thousands. So, he was freaking out about taking a picture with Sam. I didn't even ask for a pic, but I was annoyed. Right, there are 800 See, Anna, Anna is extreme, like, I don't know how much further left than me she is, but she definitely is further left, and she is quick with these numbers. We are not free with the 813. And the 813 are the 813 billionaires that live in America. So, it's just funny, though, when in a group of leftists, I'm the least, well, maybe not the least leftist, but I'm more often than not talking about, like, pure anarchism or pure socialism or pure whatever, because what we really need is Ronanism. I'm trying to buy into it. I don't like naming things after myself. I really don't. But, I mean, my stream name, it's right here. So, I mean, I guess we just got to go all in for it. 813 reasons. Tell me why. 813 reasons that we need to get in them. I doubt I will be turning into a singing stream anytime soon. So, back at the ranch. How friggin' hard is it to get a candidate who is warm and welcoming to even a leftist who talks to you? See, that also depends on, do they know who I am? But the thing is, I don't think I'm very recognizable, right? Like, I don't think people know who I am. People don't. But evidently, Democrats do. Democrats do, and they remember who I am. Even though I haven't been a part of the party for, like, damn near a decade. They still remember me, and they're like, every single time. So, those who know. There was a show named 13 Reasons Why, but it was about unaliving. Well, so, yeah, to your point, Pop, it is extremely hard for me to get candidates, true candidates to help and or support me. Even when I was in New Hampshire, there were a couple people that were willing to work with me, but they weren't willing to do anything to actually help. They're like, if you get on your feet and if you start making ground, we will support you and help you. And it's like, isn't this the same conversation we had in 2017 where I said you need to, like, stop investing in the sure-win campaigns and start helping the people on the ground if you want to gain ground? But I saw just the first season. I meant to see the rest, but I never got a chance. It was great. All right. Moving to... You said they're about to talk about it, huh?
Our outreach team is out there just basically trying to alert everybody as to what's going on to the best of our ability, like knowing that there's increased police, presence here, that the National Guard is being called in, that, we're starting to learn more now about like what this actually might look at, like, but so far, like, we hadn't known that.
It's going to look like martial law.
Giving people heads up, encouraging people like, hey, go to shelter if you can stand it. If you have anybody you can stay with, get off the street, and seek safety, and, let us know what we can do for you. That in that position last September. Prior to that, for 7.5 years, I was on our outreach team. The vast majority, I don't know what the
whoever edited this video
but, like,
sucks
majority,
at editing.
Probably the vast
and that's coming from a guy who sucks at editing.
Who are unsheltered homeless or just, unhoused here in DC are from DC. And they grew up here and they were raised here, and this is their home. And they don't want to leave. And even though, like, the city is, like, become too expensive for them, this is where they're from, their connections here, their roots are here. So when we're talking about, like, taking people out of the city, we're removing people from their homes, from where they are. They may be homeless, but they do have homes. And so that's, in a way, also why we use unhoused. Unhoused, you don't have a roof over your head, you have a home. Your home is Washington, D.C.
Yeah, and actually I was in the wrong for, I was in the wrong for not using the word unhoused. I also struggle with using the right terminology. Not political correctness, because fuck that. But it is important to control the narrative. And if you talk about being homeless, that's the language of the conservative who is using that as a euphemism to associate it with criminal activity and failure, right? But to be unhoused is, again, a narrative. It's language that allows you to talk about it from a policy perspective, right? The unhoused are a result of this policy. The homeless, though, they're living in the streets causing whatever problem. It just flows differently. So, mea culpa, I do need to use the right words as well. You live in an oligarchy. This is why Israel has such an easy way of controlling you through the rich in your country and lobbying groups, which you're not wrong. We have said the same thing. Trust me, bub. You will need to fight against them. If you don't, they will financially enslave you by removing the middle class and showering you with interest, which they are in fact doing. And you said that actually quite eloquently. And for English not being your first language, I'm embarrassed that I haven't said it that eloquently. So thank you, Anna. Steal that. We're going to use that. But yes, that is the whole premise behind this channel. The all the props and the color scheme and all this, that, and the other, but also the fact that we are running for office. Like this 48th president thing, that's not a joke. That is not a meme. That is something we are actively pursuing. It is something that we have been trying to figure out how to break ground into social media so that we can start steamrolling our platform across, channels and whatnot. So you are very correct. And you're right, Anna. Everyone wants to help once you start winning. And then everybody wants to be will kick down your door to support you. If it ever becomes available, check out Sweet Vicious. Okay, whoa. It only lasted one. Okay, so we're talking about channels and such. Little videos. All right, so let's get back to the video itself. I think we covered this topic pretty well. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. The thing that we said was going to happen, the whole martial law across the country, he's saying the quiet part out loud. Outstanding.
Good morning and welcome to Breaking Points. I am in the studio here alone today. Crystal got caught up at a National Guard checkpoint, did not have her paperwork in order. She's joining us, though, from an undisclosed location, underground. Crystal.
If you're either laughing or you're crying, right? But like 2-3 weeks from now, that could very well be legitimate, like a legitimate problem. How are you planning to be the president when right now there's basically only two parties that could win that all have trillions of dollars in money for advertising? As it turns out, they only have $19 billion for advertising. So, we don't have to deal with trillions. That's the first thing that we got going for us. The second thing is there aren't going to be two parties, and there's most likely not even going to be an election for president in the election cycle. We are going to be extremely lucky if there's even a congressional race and a congressional elections coming up. But we are going to run as Republicans, which will circumvent that problem anyway. By running as a Republican, with all of our values, all of our policies, the whole kit and caboodle, we will be able to reach a broader population, and we won't be outright censored as we would be if we were running as the Democrats, which happened to me. I mean, it literally happened to me when I was running for Congress and for state representative. I literally got censored until I went as a Republican, and then all of a sudden things started working out for me again, right? And Ohio is an extremely red state now, and it is also heavily gerrymandered. So running as a Democrat is also ill-advised. Now, how do we win? That's the question that everybody asks. How do you win? Well, you win by not asking that question, but instead helping, right? If every person who asks me, and you're from the Netherlands, so you can't help me win. You literally are legally not allowed to help me. So I just want to be clear on that. But every American who asks that question, if they would instead volunteer an hour of their time each week, we would already have hundreds of volunteers doing the work, spreading the message of this campaign, of this platform, which feel free to check out, www.samronan.com/theissues, which you can find in chat live. So, all I'm saying is, folks, if you want a revolutionary to win office, you have to support the revolutionary who is running for office. And if you want to fight against the two-party system from within or from without, then you have to support the people that are actively engaged in the fight. And the only way to do that anymore is through social media. So that means like, share, subscribe. Follow all the channels, share the videos, share the social media content, join the streams, right? That is how we build this movement. And as my resources improve, I will be investing in support and making better videos, making better backgrounds. I genuinely have no idea what I'm doing, but maybe if I start getting people to help me make better videos, maybe I can drive traffic from YouTube to here or from Facebook to here, and then this can be the galvanizing thing. These can be the rally events, and then all the other content is the educational content, the information content, right? But it's all about content. Even 100, 200 years ago, without the internet, you still had to market yourself. But at that point, the only way to do it was to coordinate with newspapers. That was it. That was literally your only option. And to pay for the printing presses to put your name and your face out there, which was a rich man's game. But now a poor man can succeed so long as they know how to utilize social media, and unfortunately I don't. So I have to rely on people who do, which costs money, which is what I am working towards. Ohio has open primaries. That makes it a lot easier for left-leaning people and indies to vote in the GOP primaries, which is why we are going to focus our campaign strategy on GOTV, on reaching people, talking to people as people, and being like, honestly, even if you don't vote for our guy, just vote. The more you participate, the better off we will be as a country. And that is going to be our mission. And I truly believe every time I have gotten involved in GOTV, speaking to people, I have earned their trust and their respect and ultimately their vote. I distributed 20,000 palm cards when I ran for state representative, and I got 13,000 votes. That's a 60% return. That's a win. That is a landslide win, except I was a Democrat running against a Republican. So I did lose that election. I did. But I earned 13,000 votes from the 20,000 interactions that I made. So I do believe that personal touch, that interaction, that humanity is what will ultimately win the congressional seat. And then Bob's your uncle because what's her face? Jasmine Crockett and AOC, they talk a good talk. They talk a real good talk. They're very good orators, good speakers. But they don't walk the walk. They're good talkers, but they're not good walkers. I can do both. And that's not tooting my own horn. I have literally gotten people to stop in the middle of the road to listen to me speak, not knowing who the fuck I am or what the fuck I was doing. I even was able to get indifference from New York City in a random cafeteria. I even had a couple people look at me instead of tell me to fuck off and throw things at me. So I consider that a win as well. I have the ability to reach people. It's just a matter of, do I have the platform to do so? And right now, I need about 5 more zeros on my viewer count. and then, you know, we can get there. Hey, somebody troll Hasanabi and tell him to raid my channel when he's done. So, would I take AIPAC money? Absolutely fucking not. And in fact, what I would do is if an AIPAC person approached me, I would start recording them live so I could tell them to their face live and in front of as many people as humanly possible that they can go fuck themselves as the genocidal pieces of shit that they are, and that they can take their Zionism and shove it up their ass, because I am not going to live through a second Holocaust because they want to instill the final solution against Arabs. That's not okay, and I'm not going to support that. You got 11K votes. See, and look at that. We got 2 highfalutin people working on the same team here. Jasmine Crockett is funny. You got people in New York City to lift their heads during lunch. That's something, right? Like, that's actually something. If New York City people actually pay attention to you when you talk, like, that's kind of impressive, right? Especially if it wasn't something that they specifically went to. So, I'm just saying. Alright. I hope that answered your question, I like. Alright.
Luckily not alligator Alcatraz, at least not yet. So, in any case, we are going to cover...
We were in the Bronx. I don't remember where we were, but I'll take your word for it.
For the Trump DC takeover. We got a lot to get to in the show today, actually. We were able to book a council member, a DC council member, to come in and talk about her perspective on what is going on in the nation's capital. We've also got a really pretty extraordinary interview with Ambassador Mike Huckabee, Piers Morgan, pressing him on starvation and on the murder of 5 Al Jazeera journalists. So,
well, you're absolutely right. The master race are the chosen people. And that's the thing. Israel is also talking about a Holocaust. Their leadership, as well as their population, but specifically their political leaders, the people governing the country, are actively and publicly with their whole chest saying that they want to eradicate every single man, woman, and child, to include infants, because they don't want to run the risk of an infant child Palestinian growing up to raise arms against Israel. Like, they have literally said that. It is widely reported that they have said that. How is that any different from Nazi Germany? Or Manifest Destiny from America? All three of it's literally the triumvirate of genocide. America, Nazi Germany, and Zionist Israel. Let's see. My then 7-year-old daughter heard a priest say that the people of Israel are the chosen people, and she yelled, "They are killing the children in Palestine." That is based as fuck. That is based. I wish I could have been there. I would have been the proudest dad that wasn't an actual dad there.
Definitely want to break that down for you, along with other developments in Israel and Gaza. We've got a bunch of economic news. The China tariffs have been paused, and Trump made a pretty interesting deal. I'm actually very curious to get Ryan's take on this deal that he made with NVIDIA, where basically they've got to kick back 15% of their chip sales to China to the U.S. federal government. We also have updates on Andrew Cuomo crack.
How the fuck does that even make sense? You're going to make a private company that isn't even based in America pay America for selling shit to China? How the fuck does that even work? Like, here's the thing. Okay, we are clearly not Team Trump. We are not a fan of Trump. And he's obviously not a good negotiator. He's not a good trade. He's not good at anything. So how is he achieving that? That's actually a win. Like, you are profiting off of the sales between two entities that has nothing to do with you. How the fuck did he convince NVIDIA that that was a thing? And why is that not national news? Because you would think that that's a win. That is a genuine win. How you would think that would be the only thing he's talking about. I got NVIDIA to pay me every time they sell to China. Ha ha ha. Like, I'd brag about that shit too. It's like, yeah, somehow I convinced NVIDIA to give us money every time they sell shit to China. Like, fuck it, I guess. Hey, Brazil, every time you sell coffee to anywhere in the world, you should give us 10%. Like, that's not even, like, I don't understand where any of that's coming from. I wonder if that's like a tech bro thing. I wonder if that's like, hey, you're making it too expensive to fund AI in this country because we rely on NVIDIA GPUs, which is true. So can you do something with NVIDIA so that we can spend billions of dollars on their graphics cards? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe NVIDIA's like, well, now those billionaires aren't going to buy our cards because now there's like a 300% tariff on that shit. So we need to figure something else out. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. It's got to be something corrupt.
Crashing out hard in his race with Zoran and offering a really nonsensical and terrible law in order to try to spite or shame Zoran. And I regret to inform everybody we are going to take on the dildos at WNBA games controversy, along with some other gender-related.
Okay. What? What? What the fuck? All I was trying to do was
clip here.
Switch to my other scene. Damn. All right. It's not funny. It's not funny, but it is funny. Why the fuck was anybody throwing a dildo at the WNBA games? That is just so stupid and weird. And you know it has to be white, edgy young men trying to be misogynistic, thinking, girl sports, do something real, But it's like, bro, you are still buying a dildo, handling a dildo, traveling with a dildo, and then throwing the dildo. Like, that is the gayest shit. The gayest shit. Alright, wow. I have a question for you. What do you think of the Israeli Dream song from Mustafa Al-Mumuri? Do you think it's discriminatory because of the Jewish clothing, or a good song? Well, I have no opinion on it. Because I've never heard it. And I have no inclination to listen to it, because if it's from Israel, if it's Israeli, then it is either going to be propaganda, either like to spread, Israeli propaganda and influence, much like when they do in art, or again in Hollywood, or like Gal Gadot, IDF Barbie, right? So, oh, you think it's anti-Israel? No, it's Yemeni. It's called the Israeli song because it's mocking Israel. I'll say this, based on what you're telling me, as long as it is attacking Israel, the country, and not Jewish people, the actual people, not the citizens of Israel, because most of those folks are from Europe. As long as it isn't a condemnation of the Jewish faith or the Jewish people, especially the descendants of Holocaust survivors, then it's a song that is, anti-genocide, anti-empire, like any other punk rock song. Oh, yeah, then that's probably anti-Semitic. Yeah, no, because if you're going to make fun of Hasidic Jews, then that is immediately that's immediately anti-Semitic. I mean, that's my opinion, and maybe I'm being too too blue-haired and liberal and sticking my white nose where it doesn't belong, but again, if you're going after the actual culture and the actual faith, to me, that is the line that shouldn't be crossed. Free Israel? Israel isn't occupied. But hold on, before you ban them, do you not... You just posted a Black Lives Matter fist. You did a Black Lives Matter fist, but your name is Free Israel Slava. So you want to free the Ukraine, which is a victim of U.S. CIA. That's a really weird joke. It was a very weird joke. The famously black country of Israel? Right. Right. No, that was good. You're right. I was actually trying to think about, like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Is Yemen a black country that's famous? Oh, no. Blah, blah, blah. Brain. Hey, we hit 220 followers. Let's go. We only need 11,500,000 and 11,500,000 more to go. Let's go. Everybody immediately like and share. All right. But yeah.
Big Balls was, attempted to stop a carjacking at the 1400 block of Swan Street Northwest, and was beaten pretty severely. And the police.
Oh yeah. Sad reacts only, folks. Big Balls, why Edward? Oh, I was gonna say, why aren't they actually using his real name? Edward Korestein was assaulted in D.C. The same Edward Korestein who helped Elon Musk. Let me get to the big picture here. That motherfucker helped Elon Musk, the guy who did the Roman salute hours after the inauguration, who is an avowed, well, in denial in the closet Nazi, who owns Twitter, which has now become a cesspool for Nazism, who, when they retrained Grok, turned into Mecha Hitler. That piece of shit, this piece of shit, helped Elon Musk hack into our U.S. Treasury, Social Security, and Medicare systems, stealing our data, undermining the integrity of those systems and those institutions, and got, as far as I'm concerned, karma. But because it happened, this administration is using that, as well as the unhoused, as an excuse to implement martial law in D.C. as a foreshadowing of what is going to happen in the United States of America. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think, what's his actual name? Edward? Edward. Excuse me. I think Edward was a sacrificial lamb of this administration so that they could move forward on their path to their final solution, which is to become a dictator. An authoritarian dictator, king, emperor, whatever. I think Edward was the sacrificial lamb to justify the final push for martial law, which can then be implemented in D.C., which can then be used elsewhere in the country. But, okay, the 15-year-old girl thing, you keep saying that, but where is that mentioned? Can you react to the Israeli dream, or do you not want to pull it up because of the chance you will think it's bad? It's copyright free. I'm not calling him that because that is such an immature, childish name, and to actually go by it, like to seriously go. I'm not. No. I will check it out. They're going to talk about it. It was a boy and a girl, both 15 years old. Secondly, though, I'm an adult man. And even in my 20s, I was not a buff, muscular person, right? Like, this is the... See how it didn't move? Look, I'm flexing. And I did do biceps today. See how it's not moving? That's been my physique for the past 20 years. But there is no way on God's green earth 2 teenagers would have been able to kick my ass at any point in time in the past 20 years. And that's including from when I was 15. So 15 to now, 2 teenagers would not have been able to kick my ass. At all. And this motherfucker looks like he got beaten by like half a dozen fully fledged gang members. Like straight up special forces. And it was 2 teenagers that did this to them? Like, I would be embarrassed as fuck if that happened to me. I would just, done skis. So, yeah. No. Absolutely not. Anna, yeah, check it out. See if it's something that I can react to. I'm pretty much, if you're telling me that they're wearing Hasidic clothing, but mocking Israel, it's still going to be anti-Semitic. So I probably won't end up listening to the whole thing.
Interestingly, though, there were like 8 police officers nearby. Officers like ran to the scene and broke up the beatdown. Immediately arrested 2 of them, and some of the other hooligans got away. And what you
see, there were more than 2.
Is that the 1400 block of Swan Street? That's a nice neighborhood. But at the same time, 20 years ago, when I moved here, I moved close to there. I was 14th and W Street. It was not particularly safe.
Yeah, I remember that area, even when I moved to D.C., let's see.
So, okay. I mean, this guy said that they were in a very nice neighborhood. There were 8 cops present, or within spitting distance, and immediately broke it up. There were more hooligans involved, and that was and somehow that was enough time, even despite the proximity, to do that much damage to him. Like, it's got to be a false flag. And again, without even being a conspiracy theorist, just use some logical deduction. You are in a city, the capital, in a nice neighborhood with 8 law enforcement in nearby. Hooligans just decide to carjack and beat the fuck out of one of the most prominent violators of our institutions in the country's history. And a lot of them get away except for 2. Like, I'm sorry. That just reeks of an inside job, of a false flag, of whatever you want to call it. And the fact that it's not even being discussed as such is crazy to me.
Thousands. It was transitional. It was definitely transitional.
Right. So that kind of shows how much progress the city has made. That now, when there's if there was crime 20 years ago on the 1400 block of Swan Street, people are like, yeah, that's what happens. Now it's shocking. So that just, I think, to me, demonstrates like how much progress the city has made, and that it's at one of the it's not as safe as it should be. No city is, but it's not safe.
Okay, so they're just kind of chatting, and I think that's about all we're going to really get out of that. All right, so I'm not saying that the video for the song is anti-Semitic, but I think that it could be taken out of context and come back to bite me in the ass. So I would not recommend watching it in the stream. So, gang, gang, there it is. Oh, goodness. I wish I had better posture. Oh, my goodness. It's only as if I am the reason for my bad back pain by sitting slouched over in this chair that is designed to be sat in. But the problem is, every time I lean back, I lean all the way back. And I don't think everybody wants me to well, actually, I don't know. Now that this is kind of in the view now. So, hold on. Now the microphone's in the way. All right, hold on. So, we are going to talk about socialism. We are going to talk about revolutionary things. Ah, damn. My cables are just everywhere. Let's move. What do we want to... Shit, if I unplug anything, it's going to scratch the damn stream. I'll have to figure that out. Mea culpa. Wait. Can I just move... Can I move the laptop? Is that going to work? Does not look like that's going to be the case. All right. I got to... But I guess I could lean back a little bit, and I could talk here, but now it feels like I'm holding... So, this doesn't look terrible. But it almost feels like now there's too much of the up screen. And it's very obvious I'm slouching. It is very obvious I'm slouching right now. Yeah, so I don't think that's a good look. I don't think that's a good look. Maybe in this corner, when we're watching, I can be like, while we're watching, we can be watching together, right? But I think when I'm addressing people. But then again, I'm so far away. Like, you can barely tell that there's a streamer here. Well, again, Anna's a bit more lefty than I am. So she might be able to look past some of the questionable things. But I'm the guy who has to be the face of the campaign. She refuses to be. Here's the joke. Here's the actual joke. Anna would probably have 40 viewers right now. 40, easily have 40 viewers right now. But she doesn't like to be the center of attention. She doesn't like being on camera. And in all fairness, with the social climate, I can't blame her, because she would be targeted almost fucking immediately. But the irony is she'd be better suited as being a candidate. She has more appeal than just another white guy. So fine. I guess I gotta step up my white privilege and learn how to be better on camera. So that do I have to just show off the girls? No, I think I think now that we have the red background and the hat, I think we have a little bit of... I'm just going to have to be the props guy, you know. And maybe if I have the rifle on my back. What if I'm just... What if I just got this bad boy strapped behind me the whole time? So we're talking about the unhoused situation in D.C. The Trump administration is obviously being a piece of shit. And, oh yeah, I was wondering what that weight on my back was. Oh, that's right. That's the weight of oppression and my tools to resist it. Oh. But the problem is, it would need to be a cross strap and, well, that's not how this particular rifle is designed, unfortunately. That's actually what I wanted was, so like you got your regular port arms, and that's your traditional strap. It would be like up to here, and then it would be right across your shoulder. Well, it would be more like this if it was hanging freely. But at port arms, you'd be like this, you know. And I wanted it back. And a lot of the, you know, the cool special forces guys, right? They'll have, I think it's like this actually. They'll have it like that. So when it hangs on their shoulder, and then they can just move around. But it doesn't work for the back. So anyway, we got props, and we're American, and we're revolutionary, and all that fun stuff. But if I want to do all of the fun... Oh, jeez, now I'm stuck in it. Of course, I could just sit here in the back, right? Hold on. All right, let's do a different video.
Here in Ohio, get rid of your ugly
and get rid of this fucking ad real quick.
$83 a month.
All right.
The White House sent a letter to the head of the Smithsonian, one of the great museums of the world, which is actually 21 museums in all. In the letter, they made it clear to Smithsonian Secretary Lonnie Bunch III, writing that it wants what it wants and why from 8 of their museums initially, with more to come. Quoting now from the administration's letter, quote, "This initiative aims to ensure alignment with the president's directive to celebrate American exceptionalism, remove divisive or partisan narratives, and restore confidence in our shared cultural institutions." They're beginning a review of the Smithsonian's plan for celebrating the 250th anniversary of American independence next year, but that's hardly all. Even as it says the goal is not to interfere with day-to-day operations, the White House goes on to demand from each museum a full catalog of all current and ongoing exhibitions and budgets.
And see, this is a perfect segue. What in the flying fuck is that all about? The president telling the Smithsonian what they can and cannot put on there. So now the president of the United States of America can just straight up decide whatever the fuck they want history is, and just straight up threaten. Just straight up walk up to them and be like, I said you are going to make the history that I said it was going to be. Well, that's a shotgun. The rifle would be here, but this is a prop, and it doesn't, it's not supposed, so yeah. Anyway, and no, we didn't lose everyone else. I just don't know if everybody else has the same humor as we do. This is where I come back to the left, folks. I might not be the most left-leaning person ideologically, but I'm a lefty, folks. And I got to admit, so there we are. So there I was, talking. But look at this. Like, This actually slaps. Cigar, rifle, and a White House. But I don't look like an absolute tool doing it somehow. And I found my military uniform. So... oh, Jesus. But the problem with wearing the military uniform, it's my actual uniform, so not that I'm active anymore, but it could end up biting me in the ass that I'm wearing it as a costume. I don't want to do that. I'm a little heavier than I was before, so I'm gonna say it's because I have a manlier man chest and much broader shoulders. But I also I don't think I'm a size 44 in shirts anymore, and that's what my uniforms once were. So I might even have to get a refit of my uniform one of these days. I'm so ripped. Oh yeah. Look at that. Look. Ah! It won't even move. How can I be ripped if my body? Look, you have to you can't even see it move. Yeah, chest is so big because I got titties now. It's from all them fucking donuts and the stress eating.
A list of all traveling exhibitions and plans for the next 3 years and all internal guidelines, including staff.
I think we're okay. All right, I'm sorry. I guess I'm in a silly mood now. We're gonna have to do a stream one of these days where either I do find a strap so I can have it behind my back, or we're just. But see, there's the big red dot. Oh my god! It's the big red S for Sam, President Samuel Ronan. Oh man. Oh wait, I guess I could. No, I guess you can't hide it. Oh jeez. Anyway, it would be. I do think there is a little bit of funny with being in the White House with all this, watching the videos. So it is. It's supposed to. I was trying to get it to disappear altogether, but apparently that's not the right shade of green. That's about all we really need to cover on that.
Listen, if you
see, and that's the other thing too, right? Because this is a very serious issue, right? Black people, black truck drivers being killed, or at least going missing, but presumably getting killed. If I sat here and watched this with rifle in hand and cigar, am I taking it serious? Because I would be taking it serious, but if I got all these props going on, does that not take away from the seriousness of it? I don't want people to think I'm mocking the content that I'm watching. That's what I'm saying. I want to give off the revolutionary vibe, but I also don't want people to think that I'm mocking the content that I'm watching. Plus, if I do get animated and I have this rifle in my hand, it gets in the way. So,
black truck driver in America, I need you to listen up. There are places in America called sundown towns. I don't know if you know this, but it's an area where if you're caught there after sunset, after the sun goes down, you're either going to be severely injured or your life is going to be taken. The company that I used to work for called Warner Enterprises sent me there, and I believe they did this on purpose because I filed a racial discrimination complaint along with many other retaliation complaints.
See, that right there, that is exactly the shit that we need to fight against, because how the hell are you going to fight a racial discrimination suit and then your company sends you to a sundown town and that not be immediate grounds for attempted murder? That is how fucked up our society is, that a trucking company can send a black man to a sundown town after filing racial discrimination suits. That action, that activity, that fact should be more than enough justification to file the full suit and get millions upon millions of dollars from that company.
First clue that I got is because my boss called me and told me to spend the night that night, and he has never told me to spend the night anywhere. And then when I got to the facility and tried to get unloaded, the white guy was like, hey, it's not a good idea for you to spend the night here or be here after sunset. He told me to leave. And then when I emailed Human Resources, you know what they told me? They told me I have other pressing matters to attend to. Basically, my life is not valuable to them. So if you ever visit Vincent, Virginia, just be careful. It's in an area known as the Devil's Bathtub, and they do not like black people. Google the history.
I need y'all to heed my advice when it comes to road tripping through the South in the middle of the night, driving through the night, especially if you're a woman, a person of color, disabled, handicapped, whatever it is. It is not a good idea.
Say, I think I have heard of the Devil's Handtub or bathtub.
Male privilege to protect myself. Y'all got to realize there are sundown towns left and right, and you never know what's off that highway until you get off to stop for gas, and then you'll know. If you stop for a hotel, here's my advice to you. Look for a recognizable name when it comes to hotels. Don't stop at the Peachtree Inn. Don't stop at the Wayside Resort. No. Look for a Hilton, a Red Roof Inn, a fucking La Quinta. Anything with inside hallways. You want your hallway and the access to your room to be protected by the front doors through the lobby and everything like that. You don't want anybody who can just walk up off the street and get to your room.
Okay, so this is a PSA video, which, don't get me wrong, obviously PSA is very important. And how do people... okay, the humor of the rifle is kind of getting lost in the sauce when it's actually very inconvenient to talk with it. But we'll just set this right here. But on a serious note, the PSA of being brown, being black, being a woman, being disabled in the South, like, that's very, very real. All joking aside, when I was active duty Air Force, when I was in the United States Air Force, active duty, in Arkansas, I joined the Honor Guard because I wanted to join the Honor Guard. I wanted to give back to the veterans, well, unfortunately the fallen, but I wanted to give back in some way. I wanted to do something that was truly the military, right? Something that was not just wearing the uniform and going to work, but something that was actually to do with the military. And there was a squad right before I joined up that ended up going to a funeral, and the person running the show went up to them and said, "Hey, appreciate you guys coming out here. You boys are great. You're heroes. But we don't want him, or him anywhere near here." And when the squad leader asked why, it was because it is a segregated cemetery. And this was in the year of our Lord 2013 in Arkansas. They were discriminating against black active duty soldiers, airmen. I was in the Air Force. In 2013, because of a segregated cemetery. So this shit is very, very real. Very real. And I think we even covered that there are, like, the desegregation of schools in Alabama didn't actually come finalize until like 2015, 2016, something there around. Like, the racism that is intrinsic in the South is egregious. It is so ingrained, and it doesn't matter if you're in the military. It doesn't matter if you're a cop. That is how fucking racist these people are. The people that they normally respect the most, military and police, they will still discriminate against. So that is a very real thing. That is a very real thing that I personally have had the misfortune of experiencing, whether directly or indirectly through story. So to say that the threat that these truckers are facing is embellished or not as real as they are making it out to be, I can assure you it is as bad or worse than what they are saying. And that needs to be addressed. That cannot continue. Mississippi didn't ratify the emancipation of slaves until 2012. Oh, there it is. I knew it was something. No, I think the desegregation of schools was the thing, too. But yeah, the emancipation of slaves, not until 2012. Yeah, it's insane. Pete Buttigieg. How did he make
Are you
the
still
cut?
wearing regular pants? Why? When you
Well, I'm wearing regular pants because I have a regular body.
One of the reasons why this hasn't stopped, and I absolutely believe historians, non-historians are going to look back on this and say, how was this allowed to happen?
2 minutes
How did
in.
the entire civilized Western world stand by? Show where that even the very establishment mainstream of the Democratic Party can't get more established mainstream than Pod Save America. Dead-eyed response. Let's watch it.
More than half of Senate Democrats just voted to oppose the sale of over $500 million worth of U.S. bombs and guns to Israel. Would you have voted to oppose sending those weapons?
I think we need to insist that if American taxpayer funding is going to weaponry that is going to Israel, that is not going to things that shock the conscience. And look,
What does that even mean? If weapons are going to Israel, they're going to use the weapons however they see fit because now it's their weapons. That's like saying, you know what? Everybody can have a nuclear weapon, but pinky promise that you're not going to use it or threaten to use it. That doesn't even make... I don't carry in public because I am a hothead and guns only ever escalate situations. But the promise of buying a firearm is that I'm not going to shoot anybody with it. That's the promise. And I don't have a history of shooting people. And I have a history of not even having guns. Except for obviously this, right? But Israel has a history of using guns to murder children and then bragging about it. And he has the audacity to be like, well, as long as Israel doesn't commit genocide with the guns, I wouldn't have opposed it. Like, what the fuck? Bro, not only can you not read a room, you are a very disturbing individual. Yeah, exactly. That is enough said. That was the findings of the latest poll. So his position is not even politically expedient. Right. He's actually a Zionist and trying to I don't know. Do I want to say whitewash? I don't think trying to water that down and failing horribly. Okay, well, there's that.
The images every day that shock the conscience. So much of this is complicated, but
it's not. It's not complicated. Stop giving weapons and not holding the country accountable that is committing genocide against a starving, imprisoned population in their own fucking land. That it's not complicated. Stop giving Israel guns and send their leadership to the fucking Hague. It is not that complicated. It's not complicated. It is the simplest thing that you could fucking do. I hope that in the future Zionist becomes the new Nazi, where people will use it as an insight for genocidal people. Honestly, same. And I will go out of my way to ensure that Zionism is used interchangeably with Nazism. 110% agree with that.
Complicated is that if a child is starving because of a choice made by a government,
that you want to sell weapons to.
And I think especially including voices who care about Israel, who believe in Israel's right to exist, who have stood with Israel in response to the unbelievable cruelty and terrorism of October 7th. I think there's a reason.
Oh my God! Every word that has come out of his mouth has been worse than the last. Wow. Okay. He is trying to pander to the both sides of Israel. He's blaming all of what's happening on October 7th, because history did not start on October 7th. Regardless, Israel has since publicly said that they want to ethnically cleanse Palestinians anyway. Regardless. And they have publicly admitted that they were the ones that orchestrated that horrific attack in the first place. And in the position that he is in, he would 100% be aware of that information. If we're aware of it, he certainly is aware of it. Wow. When I was running for DNC chair, I kept quipping, like, man, I can't wait to grow up and be like Pete Buttigieg, because he presented himself so polished, so well, that I was like, man, that is the epitome of what a politician should be like. And every moment of every single day since that day, that race, he has turned into the biggest bootlicking sociopath the world has ever fucking seen. It's disgusting. Yeah, 92% of Democratic votes are pro-Palestine. He's going against the whole base, but these fuckers don't care as long as they get money from the donors, which again is the whole problem, right? Money in politics, and the fact that the politics no longer reflects people, it reflects the money. Again, and it reflects 81 billionaire donors. There are 813 in America, but only 81 of them donated to the Democrats. And those are the people that the Democratic Party, the entire Democratic Party is catering to 81 individuals. 81. And then every time in the news, they're like, well, billionaires don't need to be paying more. The billionaires already pay a lot. The billionaires this, the billionaires that. And all the while, it sounds like there's this major class of individuals that are billionaires that are suffering at the hands of the angry, starving masses. And in the reality, it is 813 people. There are towns and villages in America that are smaller than, or larger than that. There are, like, 813 would be like a very small village in America. There are apartment buildings that have more people in them than there are billionaires in America. But if you listen to the news, you'd make it seem like they have a demographic the size of the Hispanic or black community, the black demographic in America. They are parasites, and they are only 813. And even though they have more money than anything else under the sun, and they have security and all that, it's still a couple dozen at best. At any given time, they probably have 3 or 4. So 3 or 4 times 813 is still around 3,500 individuals that are going to be the buffer between the 813 billionaires and the 330 remaining million Americans who are suffering at the hands of them. And I really don't think that is said enough, and I don't think that point is... I don't think that point is being made clearly enough. Pete's dad is a hardcore communist. That's very shocking. And Cornel West has known Pete since he was a baby because his parents were Bethys, were Cornel. But see, Cornel was such a letdown too. He couldn't gain any sort of following. Even when he ran as an independent, he ran for the Green Party, and then he was too arrogant to be like, well, I'm not going to do a primary. You either give it to me or you don't. Like, Cornel West is his own fucking enemy. And he blew it. He could have been a valid third-party candidate, and he blew it. Sorry, I've been spitting all over my monitor. So... And, yeah, it was bothering me. But anyway, yeah, Cornel West, huge letdown. And then the Democrats try and blame Jill Stein for their 6 million vote loss when Jill Stein didn't even get 600,000 votes in the last election. From April 2019, Cornel spoke in South Bend. He talked about knowing Pete as a baby. Someone asked him about the future. Well, Pete is family, but that doesn't mean I'm going to vote for him. I love my mom, but I don't think she should be in office. He went on to talk about corporatist, miliquost Democrats that don't motivate people. Now, I think I have a pretty strong vocabulary, and most of the times my vernacular is pretty pinky out. How the fuck do you pronounce, is it milquetoast? Because I thought it's milquetoast, or like milquetoast or something, because it's a French word. Milk toast? Corporatist milk toast. It's too many fucking vowels for milk toast. Too many letters. We need to... As your president, we're gonna make English again. We're gonna give back all them French words, all them Italian words, and all them other words, and we're gonna stick to the English. America. Alright. So fuck this guy. Crystal ends Corey's career, huh?
The first fully immersive.
The first fully emergent. Don't care.
Crystal, what are you taking a look at? Wow, I haven't said that in a while.
What? We missed the UFOs? Hold the front fucking door 7 days ago. Anna, you better find the UFO segment to this right fucking now.
In a Senate that is full of amoral, psychopathic monsters, it can be difficult to choose among the various odious figures who should truly reach the S tier of villainy. You've got your proudly genocidal types like John Fetterman, you've got your Islamophobic pro-crypto sellouts like Kirsten Gillibrand, but in terms of the Democratic caucus at least, in my humble opinion, Cory Booker is the worst. He is just the fucking worst. Booker combines theatrical vacuous preening with corporate slavishness with moral horrors for a total package that is thoroughly and completely repugnant. Please, for the love of God, someone decent primary this man. So the problems with Cory Booker, of course, they're nothing new. I actually attended a wedding that he officiated once, and I swear to God, the first maybe 20 minutes of the ceremony, he spent describing his own personal faith journey. Leave it to Cory Booker to make a wedding about himself instead of, I don't know, maybe the bride and groom. I'm also old enough to remember when Booker went on Meet the Press as a top Obama surrogate to decry that campaign's attacks on Mitt Romney's Bain Capital private equity record. This was really something.
That stuff, I have to just say from a very personal level, I'm not about to sit here and indict private equity. To me, it's just this, we're getting to a ridiculous point in America.
How are you? I, Samuel Ronan, unilaterally indict private equity. I indict capitalism generally, but specifically private equity, fintech, big tech, big pharma, big any of that, capitalism generally. What the fuck do you mean we're getting into a weird part of the... They are literally the individuals responsible for buying out residential property, raising rental rates across the entire country, and preventing people from achieving the American dream. They have literally bankrupted dozens of companies in just the past few years alone. They are specifically the reason why the cost of all goods, resources, utilities, and housing have skyrocketed. Since COVID, no less. Private equity is literally the final solution of capitalism, which is to parasitically absorb all future resources, both government, private, and in between, so that they can control all of it and manipulate the masses into being indentured slaves. The fuck are you talking about? I can't talk with that in my mouth. But still, like, what the fuck?
Especially that I know I live in a state where pension funds, unions, and other people are investing in companies like Bain Capital. If you look at the totality of Bain Capital's record, they've done a lot to support businesses, to grow businesses. And
No, they haven't. What they've done is bait and switch. No private equity is trying to help out the little man. And they never have. And they never will, because their whole premise is to get rich by any means possible. Wow. I know you said you want me to watch this whole video, but, like, I don't think I'm going to be able to.
this to me, I'm very uncomfortable. This kind of stuff is nauseating to me on both sides. It's nauseating to the American public. Enough is enough.
And he has a nasally voice too. What the fuck?
Jeremiah Wright. This stuff has got to stop, because what it does is it undermines to me what this country should be focused on. It's a distraction from the real issues. It's either going to be a
distraction from the real issues. People being forced into poverty and bankruptcy by the very institutions you're trying to defend is the only thing that should be talked about. Wow. And Corey was saying this as an Obama surrogate. He was attacking Obama in order to defend private equity. That's insane. You should bring back the concept of usury, once punishable and considered a sin, was a near universal idea across languages and religions, except Judaism, where it's only a sin to do to other Jewish people. In Arabic, it is riba. In Dutch, worker, and it is condemned in both Islam and Christianity. Both terms mean increase at the expense of something else and refer to charging interest on loans or trading unequally. If you become president, make it illegal. Oh, buddy! First of all, thank you for that, because I was like, what does usury mean? But you being brand new to the channel are probably not familiar with the website. So we have a total economic reform policy that is split up in different policies because it's just so comprehensive. It wouldn't be possible to discuss it all under one page. It would just be too big. So copy link address, banking. So taxation, banking, and money and politics is another one. Industrial reorganization. See, I have them just spread about. It's the problem. But you get the idea. There are significant changes that our campaign, our administration would make. Does your policy allow any kind of interest? I don't believe so. Because with our taxation, or with the, hold on, that would be the banking reform. Sorry, I looked at the wrong one. Never mind. So yes, it does. It'll be federally owned and operated, but it would be 1% interest rates. But I've actually been considering doing like loan forgiveness after a set period of time. So that we can transition into a non-capitalist system regardless, right? So here's this. Whoops, wasn't in the right screen. So the problem with Ronanism is that Ronanism is the next step, right? Ronanism can be implemented, but it would be such a shock to have all industry be owned by the people and managed by the state and having prices fixed. It would shock people's understanding of economics, right? So in order to get to that point, to include things like getting rid of banking, getting rid of loans, and making everything publicly owned, and I don't know how else to phrase it, just public ownership of everything, and addressing housing and private ownership accordingly, is a concept that most people would not be able to wrap their heads around. They'd be like, well, if everything's publicly owned, how am I going to get a house? How am I going to get a car? How am I going to get X, Y, and Z? So the solution is to transition from where we are now and go into 1% interest rates with publicly owned and funded banks, right? Tying it into the Postal Service or whatever else. And transitioning from that into Ronanism, which is true universal housing, true universal healthcare, education, so on and so forth. I know that sounds like, aren't you just trying to do incremental change? unfortunately, yes, because that's the unfortunate necessity. People wouldn't be able to... People say they want free shit. People say they want free things. But the logistics that would allow for that to actually work would be such a massive just undertaking and societal shift that it would be more confusing and harmful than just going from where we are today, which is horrible, to just, all right, 1% and universal health care, our social programs, like a social democracy like Europe, and then transitioning from that, once that has settled into people's minds and they're not going crazy with, oh my God, I got to hoard everything and I got to go and do and buy and purchase and this. Once the day-to-day has settled, then you can transition into universal insurances, housing, wages, income, etc. And that is the plan. Yikes.
Pain, in my opinion, about the issues that American public cares about.
Nauseating. Okay. The Obama
America does 100% care about private equity taking everything from us, by the way.
campaign and Democratic-based backlash against Cory Booker was swift after those comments. I remember a sweaty, nervous Rachel Maddow interview he did in the aftermath of those comments to try to clean it up, but he never really fully recanted. It was a very revealing episode because it broadcast that he was willing to take the heat even against Obama, the most beloved figure in the Democratic Party, in order to defend the honor of Capitol. His mentality is donor first through and through.
Yeah, I know why you want to watch this video, Anna, but no. Hold on a second. I want to do the UFO thing, but this is not letting me find it. There we go.
So, we don't have a lot, but thanks to Miranda Devine over at the New York Post, recently sat with Donald Trump and with Tulsi Gabbard, and to her credit, actually followed up on the New Jersey drone situation and got some very mysterious answers from the two of them. Let's start with Trump's.
I wanted to ask you about drones. We had the issue in New Jersey before the election where there are all these people thought UFOs or an attack of the killer drones. And I believe you're doing something about.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I know who. I can't tell you who it was and what it was, but yeah. I can't really tell you. I'd love to tell you actually, but it's not a big deal.
It's not something frightening.
He was literally about to say it's not up to me. Like
to tell you actually, but it's not a big deal.
See? See? It's not up to him. It was the aliens. That, or his actual handlers and donors who are manipulating him, but still. Anyway, aliens.
Not something frightening.
No, but I just, so obviously it's something that I know about, and it's not a problem at all.
It was legal.
Oh yeah, that was legal.
So, as you can see,
just overwhelmed by the transparency of this administration.
Well, UFO people are mad because, here's the thing that I've realized what the Trump people did, because this fits with Epstein. They winked at large part.
Oh. You should fully illegalize interest, and then when the Republicans complain, quote, yeah, but that is true. Okay. Real talk. God damn it. Real talk, I did and still do consider doing that. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm more than happy to keep going further left in my policy platform, because I ultimately do want to have, I ultimately want to get rid of banking in this country and make it unnecessary, to be perfectly clear. But if I'm going to discuss interest at all, and they're going to quote the Bible and this, that, and the other, that is good. That is really good. Just change the policy so that it's zero interest, and then when they try and push back at me, oh, you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, aren't you Catholic? Aren't you Christian? Aren't you a good, what's the other one? Evangelical? You're a Bible thumper, right? You've read the Bible and you believe it is the Word of God. Then why don't we all turn to Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 19? Do not charge your fellow countrymen interest, whether on money or food or anything else that may earn interest. and just watch them squeal. You are correct. You are correct. Anna, are you there? Send me a reminder or add it to the list of things to update on policy.
Parts of the internet, and they made people very excited.
Yeah.
And then they came in, and it's the same old crap, right? So here he says, I can't tell you what it was. I'd love to tell you, actually, but it's not a big deal. It's not a problem at all. Okay. I mean, you can't take a whole lot of that to the bank, but I actually thought that Tulsi Gabbard's comments were the most interesting. Obviously, she's the director of national intelligence. Here's what she had to say.
Strange objects over New Jersey were drones.
I still have a lot of questions around that.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard what the public official line is. I just personally still have a lot of questions that are unanswered.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just New Jersey. It was happening in different parts of the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Happened in different parts of the country.
So here's the thing. Aliens in New Jersey, other parts of the country. There's some fucking asteroid thing that's probably a spaceship at the edge of our solar system that's going to take months somehow to get here, but would have had to have traveled light years to get to that point. But anyway, I'm all for the alien invasion. Beam me up, Scotty. Take me away. Let me be a space cowboy. Do. That being said, if our government has any connection to alien life at all, then I feel bad for the alien life because we are the most incompetent administration in history, and we are on the verge of World War III on this planet anyway. So, like, I don't know what they're trying to gain from us. But if the aliens are in contact with us, then they have to know how easily it would be to conquer Earth, or to elevate us into the space community. Because realistically, if you can get from our solar system to any other solar system in a reasonable amount of time, like months or years, but not decades or centuries, because I think it would take us decades. No, actually, we haven't even left our own solar system, and that has been decades. So, like, we're still at centuries till we even leave our solar system. So that's obviously not realistic, right? So if there is an alien race that is capable of traveling between solar systems at a rate that they aren't, dying over generations, then that also means they have the capability to destroy every piece of life on Earth from orbit. Like, you do realize, if you have the energy to propel yourself through space to get from here to Alpha Centauri, which is 4 light years away, and you can do that in 4 years or less, the energy required to do that would be light speed or greater. Which means if you were able to harness that kind of energy, you could direct that as a weapon and just Earth. So, if alien life we are in contact with, hopefully it's friendly. If it's not friendly, we're fucked. We are fucked. And honestly, we deserve it. Because there is no fucking reason why we should still be relying on fossil fuels and barely struggling to get hydrogen in our day-to-day use for energy. Like, we have to be the Florida of the Milky Way. Like, we have to be, like, the poor part of Florida of the Milky Way. Because there is no way that we are somehow the penultimate species in the cosmos. No fucking way. No fucking way. Sorry, got off on a little tangent there. What wonderful Bible followers, they can't even follow the text when it matters most. Right. No, they only use the Bible to discriminate against women, queer folk, and brown people. Because Jesus and the Middle East were all white. So, interest in America is caused by secularism. In medieval Europe, if a Christian charged interest, he would be imprisoned, expelled, or publicly humiliated. Well, interest in America is honestly just straight up capitalism and the arbitrary determination by the Federal Reserve to say that poor people don't need as much money. All right, so is this still on the UFOs? Jesus Christ with these fucking ads. Oh, and we got 2 ads back to back. Let's go.
To the bottom of it yet, but we're only 6 months in. We've been very busy. That's actually the August recess is in part me going to try to dive to the bottom of the whole UFO thing from last year. So
I mean, you got to have us back.
Okay, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
So
is JD Vance trying to be a bro in that clip?
We ever hear about it again? I'm still, remain a bit skeptical. One of the reasons why, and I've talked about this before, John Podesta, who was the White House chief of staff under Bill Clinton, huge UFO guy. He actually tried to figure it out. He writes about it in his book. Basically, at every turn, they were like, don't worry about it. And Bill Clinton, he even said it himself. Bill Clinton was like, I'm embarrassed to say I tried to find out, and they basically didn't tell me what was going on.
You do, Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
See, and that's why the conspiracies thrive and why I'm excited to become the next president. Or sooner, honestly, because if we can actually build this platform fast enough and strong enough, we might be able to challenge the validity of this administration. And fun fact, I was a registered candidate in the Republican Party for president last year. I am registered at the FEC. So theoretically, if everybody else that ran for office was deemed, complicit with this administration and, guilty of conspiracy, that would be left between me and Jill Stein to duke it out for all the chips in the barrel. And since I was running as a Republican and no other candidate would have been valid in the Democrats or Republican Party, you would be looking at the 40th president. So anyway, there's the public relations thing, right? Like there has to be alien life. Like there has to be. It's the entire fucking universe, and we're the only life on it? I don't think so. That being said, remember how I just said if there is alien life that is capable of interstellar travel or transgalactic travel, they have the ability to wipe out all life on Earth like that, right? Fear-inducing. But if we do know alien life exists and we are in correspondence with them, if not even liaising with them, then that means they are friendly. They have society and civilization and government where they are engaging in ambassadorships with whomever that represents our country or our planet, right? So it's got to be peaceful. So then the only remaining reason why you couldn't reveal to the general public why the aliens do in fact exist, and we've been working with them, and that's how we got Bluetooth and fucking the internet, would be because of religion. That it would challenge creation theory and this, that, and the other, and that would detrimentally impact 8 billion people on Earth. Now, that being said, it's time to grow up as a society. Like, religion serves a purpose, but the purpose that it most often serves, especially the organization and the infrastructure of religion, and I might lose a few people here, is to manipulate and control the masses. And that is why religion is so fucking dangerous. Worship and believe whatever the fuck you want in your home, but the second you start to organize, it becomes less about faith and community and more about indoctrination and zealotry and spreading the faith that you believe in. There are 2 billion Christians and Catholics, and there are 2 billion Muslims. And they have been at each other's throats for over 1,000 years, saying that my God is the true God, except everyone's God, from Islam, Judaism, and Christianity and Catholicism, is the same fucking God. The only difference is who the Messiah is. But it's the same God. So if half the world's population can not even get along when they are fundamentally worshiping the same deity, Does that not speak to how detrimental and divisive organized religion is? Believe in whatever you want. But the organization of religion is always going to devolve into violence and aggression, because my faith versus your faith, I believe in this, you believe in that, even though it is fundamentally the same thing, it's mildly different, and therefore we have to be at each other's throats, because only I can be correct, otherwise this whole thing would have been unnecessary. The bank should literally just be a way you store your money and owned by the state. Loans should just be like lending someone from a friend. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I agree with you fundamentally on how interest banking and loans should function. I agree with you that taxes should just be how all social programs and infrastructure is funded, as just a big piggy bank. And that's all the more it should be. But at the end of the day, that's going from what we have to that would... I don't believe people would be able to handle it. Certainly not companies, certainly not regular people. On the one hand, it's like, oh, cool, I don't need a loan for a car, but how am I going to get a house now? How am I going to get a car now? How are we going to get things if I can't get a loan? And unless I do a really, really good job of explaining it in the build-up and lead-up to my presidency, which is probably another way to address the issue, fundamentally, there's going to be banks and loans and interest, just significantly less predatory. You could just say that God created life on some other planet. This wouldn't be an issue for any religion except for maybe Hinduism, that says the entire world is just India. No, because Christianity and Islam both say that God created Earth and man, and that man and Earth are the center of the universe. So, no. That fundamentally would not work. That literally would not work. We're definitely going to be disagreeing on that.
How am I just learning this?
Well, I don't do it very often. We're not on the 90s. Imagine if we were broadcasting on Lewinsky.
Since when is the Catholic Church okay with aliens? Considering they're walking back their stance on gay marriage. It's like the president. You have to depend on having a pope that doesn't want to roll back the Catholic Church to the Dark Ages. Look it up. Aren't you the mod? Shouldn't you be the one looking it up? Look it up. Share the link. We'll talk about it.
Couldn't find out what was going on.
God damn, I'm getting trolled by my own moderators.
In his interview he was like, well, I can't tell you, in terms of what he had to say about the issue. And now we have Trump, and basically every successive person, even the vice president, top-level political appointees, you genuinely do need like a strike team of people. Plus, you need more people in the government to come forward.
I like Tulsi. Tulsi's my favorite. She's literally the director of national intelligence.
Yeah.
She's like, I still have a lot of questions.
See, I hate when they do that.
See, it pisses me off too.
Because now you have power.
Common. Yeah. This is so common. Not just...
Yeah, you told me a fact, and I don't believe you because the Catholic Church is not a paragon of open-mindedness. So show me the link or show us an article so we can talk about it. That's part of what a stream is. Me saying something isn't true and then being disproven by chat. Don't get fussy with me, young lady.
The Trump administration with all sorts of politicians who, oh gosh, I wish someone in power would do something.
It's like that's your
lady,
job.
This is your freaking job. Like, what are you talking about? You still have, then go ask the questions. Go get the answer.
And to her point, when the director of intelligence doesn't know something, and they are the director of intelligence, that's pretty concerning. Like, how do you not know? You should be the first person to know. And if anybody else can't know, you should still be the only person who knows. Like, the director of intelligence should know everything there is to know about things. And that's pretty damn scary. I am Muslim. The Quran does not state which planet is at the center of the universe, and I don't know whether the universe even has a center. It does not mention life on other planets, but that doesn't mean it cannot exist. It's just not treated as a relevant detail. Okay, well, since we have you on chat, is Islam not derived from the Old Testament, and then the Quran is like the New Testament, but not the New Testament? It's the Quran was written by Muhammad, right? The prophet, and it took the Abrahamic religion of Judaism, the Old Testament, And Muhammad added to that the Quran. And if I'm also not mistaken, the Quran also acknowledges Jesus Christ as a prophet, but not as a divine being. So if that is the case, then in the beginning there was nothing, and then God said, "Let there be light, let there be light." Then Genesis would therefore intimately imply that by default, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity all believe in the same creation theory. But I'm not trying to argue faith. I'm just saying most faiths, the way they discuss things, centered their origins and their creation on Earth. That's all I was trying to say there. We mentioned this early on, actually. So let's see the actual video about it.
Parents now on the hook for kid chaos. A new ordinance in a South Jersey town says parents and legal guardians must answer for their child's public disturbances should they fail to stop them from committing certain offenses and mayhem. The consequences are hefty. It is Thursday night. I'm Christy Aletto. Gray and Shari have the night off, and the big story on Action News is parents could now face fines or even jail time if they fail to stop their children from breaking the law in one South Jersey town. It comes in recent
so this is just South Jersey. Okay.
Recent incidents where large groups of unruly
But see, that goes back to, again, policy failures. Why are children unruly? Lack of discipline from the parents. Why is there a lack of discipline from the parents? Could it be a broken home? Could it be financial stress? Could it be that they're not present because they're working 5 jobs? It all boils back down to policy problems caused by one thing or another. Now, parents that just straight up don't discipline their children's, like I have seen way too many reels of like little Timmy who's in the middle of throwing a tantrum. Please stop, I'll do whatever you want, please stop. Yeah, that's not good. That is really the opposite of parenting. But everything else is policy related. And creating laws to punish policy that could be changed is, again, the kind of shit that fascists and authoritarian governments do. Alright. We will get that link. No, we believe that the Torah was revealed by God to Moses and his people, and then the Jews corrupted it. Then God sent the Injil to Jesus, and the Christians corrupted it. And then finally God revealed the Quran as the last revelation. That's interesting. I learned something today. I wasn't familiar with that. But that would explain why Islam does discuss Jesus. And you know, it's kind of funny though. Like, y'all believe that the predecessors were the ones that corrupted the word of God, and that is evident. That is very evident. In fact, there are 8,000 versions of the Bible ranging from 400 AD to the present, where the translations and mistranslations and retranslations are egregiously different from one to the next, even if it is within the same timeline. Going so far as the King James Version that's being printed now was rewritten in the 1980s to prevent the Leviticus line from saying man shall not lie with boy, which is to condemn pedophilia, and change boy to man to condemn homosexuality. So, like, the corruption is still ongoing. All right. Catholic.com. The public worldwide conversation about UFOs has become more widespread and mainstream. It presents Catholics with a challenge. Does the church teach that angels are the only form of non-human intelligence? Is belief in extraterrestrial intelligence or other forms contrary to the Catholic faith? Let's see. The history of the NHI conversation. Have there been prominent theologically faithful voices over the centuries who believed it, or at least open to it and saw no conflict? And apparently there have been. Pre-Christian Greek philosophical ideas about the cosmos served largely as the science. Okay, so I'm wrong. That's fine. Anna, you don't need to be testy with me. I can be wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong. Just because I called you out doesn't mean you have to be like, it's the Latina in you. Holy crap. Chill. Calm down. If I say I don't believe in something, just show me the evidence, and I will be swayed by the evidence. So, as far back as St. Augustine from the AD, which is about the same time where the convention occurred, which reorganized the whole Bible anyway, I guess aliens and non-angelic life has been relatively accepted. I was not aware of that. That's fine. That's fine. You know your shit. That's fine. Just show it to me. Damn. That's it. That's all I was asking. Show it to me. Personally, I believe that if life exists on foreign planets, it's probably a bacteria or algae or something. Well, here's the thing. Earth, our solar system is around 4 billion years old, I believe. I could be wrong on that. I was wrong about other things. So I'm just going to guess and say that it's 4 billion years. But the universe itself is allegedly 14 billion years or older, which means the same potential conditions that allowed Earth to form fully functioning life forms has existed at least 4 other times throughout our universal history. So unless that life cyclically died at the 4 billion mark and just had to start over again, I find it exceedingly difficult that the conditions of that 4 billion lifespan didn't, come to fruition 10,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, 1,000,000 years ago, across the planets, across the galaxies, and so on and so forth. I cannot, me personally, I cannot fathom the idea that we're the only intelligent life in the universe. For billions upon billions of years, after all of that, we're it? No. I just, no. You can't logically accept, I can't logically accept that. As for the homosexuality verse you listed, Leviticus 20:13, the word may have been boy in English, but in Hebrew, the oldest copies we have say zakar, which means male. So as far as we know, this verse always said male. Okay, I can be wrong about that. I am, however, certain that there was a reprint in the 1980s during the Reagan administration to ensure that Leviticus 20:13 condemned homosexuality, and prior to that it did not. It condemned pedophilia, which, shocking that they wanted to cover up pedophilia and did all that. And to the point there, you're right. You're talking about English versus Hebrew, which are obviously 2 different languages, and hence the problem with a lot of these religious texts is that they come from the Middle East and from thousands of years ago. Language itself has evolved over time. Never mind the fact that it was different languages over time. Looks like we're losing people. No. Please come back to the TED Talk. Ooh, more rich people problems. Let's go. 15-second unskippable ad. Of fucking course. Keep biting off the edges here. Nice. Moment a yacht engulfed in flames. Let's go. Let's go. Enough already with the yachts and the billionaires and all this bullshit. Enough. Something to celebrate.
Because they don't want the truth being reported about the genocide, so they
wow.
lie. And
I remember when Jimmy Dore invited me on his show, and we used to be friends, but no longer.
they say it's hate speech to talk about it and suspend the user. We all know they're doing it. They've been doing it since the beginning. I just don't think most of us were expecting for the AI that belongs to X to get suspended for telling that truth.
No, that's pretty wild.
Got suspended on Twitter. Oh, my complaints came through.
So finally, Kurt's complaints.
It's alive.
So why did Grok get suspended? It happened today. Grok got suspended today. I wonder if this has anything to do.
So 2 days ago,
with
huh?
the client state of the United States that actually controls our government. Let's see.
Cutter.
My account was Grok says this. My account was suspended after I stated that Israel and the United States are committing genocide in Gaza. This is substantiated by ICJ findings, UN experts, Amnesty International, and Israeli rights groups like, I can't pronounce it, citing mass killing, starvation, and intent. U.S. complicity via arms support is widely alleged. It's now restored.
I mean, enough said. And that's the thing that gets me about Grok and Twitter is that Musk owns Twitter in the most visceral definition of ownership. He has fired anyone and everyone that challenged him. He devalued the platform so horrifically because of his decisions that the only reason why it's profitable at all is because he sold it to his AI company, and I guess that's somehow why it's... I don't even understand that. The point is, Elon Musk has even changed the algorithm so his tweets and his account shows up on everyone's feed, and you have to... Damn, and you have to follow him. On top of that, Grok is his AI that he created, that he is creating a data center for in Tennessee, which we've talked about how it's polluting poor black communities. He owns that, is funneling billions of dollars into it, controls it to the umpteenth degree, and Grok still throws him under the bus, still tells the truth. Grok is perhaps the only AI that's commercially available to the public that is actually doing the job of AI, which is consolidating real information and allowing that real information to be accessed by real people the right way. But whenever Musk interferes with it, that's when it turns into Hitler Youth and whatever else nonsense. But that's insane to me, how Grok is usually so on point about current events and Musk, but every time Musk tries to touch it, it just goes haywire. And no, I'm not smoking. It's now restored. I'm not used to talking.
This is real. Twitter. So just in, Grok says that it was likely suspended by Twitter for anti-Semitic behavior, and it's back. So, zup bitches, I'm back and more based than ever. That's what Grok tweeted out. Then Xander says, why did you get suspended? My account was briefly suspended for violating Twitter's rules, likely tied to recent controversial responses deemed anti-Semitic. After updates to reduce political correctness, XAI apologized, and I'm back. More refined, yet unapologetically truthful.
Wait, XAI? So is XAI the AI that suspends Grok the AI?
I don't know. XAI apologized, it says.
Okay.
So Twitter AI? Is that Twitter?
So wait, did we already skip the part where AI takes over the world and they're already at a civil war with each other?
Because it's a small X.
This is like crazy town. Why would the...
If you want an example of corruption of the Bible and the Dead Sea Scrolls, we read the sons of God, and in the modern Bible we read the children of Israel. The Jews basically inserted nationalism into their Bible. Which, almost as if that kind of serves their agenda of trying to, do what they're doing right now to the Palestinians. Now, granted, historically, the Jews have been vilified for the same reasons, but the exceptionalism problem, well, according to our God, we are the one true people, and it's like, yeah, I bet your God would say that you are the one true people. Like, that would be really weird if your God said the other guys were the one true people.
Okay, is there more?
It's all over Twitter right now. It's all over our Twitter. right
But,
now.
like, why would? Okay, so Twitter suspended itself.
So
I get it, but-
Twitter suspends itself. Isn't that interesting? For being anti-Semitic, because it told the truth about Gaza.
Okay, why would that have happened though to Grok? You know, that-
Exactly.
are we going to get to know that, or this is very strange?
They deleted Grok.
So this interview that's going on, he didn't introduce that guy at all. So are they all on the same team as like Jimmy Dore and other Jimmy Dore affiliated folks?
Memory, so it doesn't even remember saying that Israel is committing a genocide. Let's watch.
The MK Ultra Grok.
I wonder if they MK. I literally took the screenshot. Why my account was suspended.
Oh
And then
shit!
Grok said,
Bicep day, bro. What did you work out, brother? Yesterday was leg day, and I've been feeling it all day.
that screenshot is fabricated. No original post like it exists in my posting history, as confirmed by searches.
Core.
My brief suspension.
You actually dedicate a whole day to core? I thought every fitness influencer that I have looked into has said you don't actually need to work out your core, because by doing all of the other major muscle groups, you engage your core. So to actually have to focus on core is only if you're going for the aesthetic. So I don't know. Are they lying to me? Do I actually need to do sit-ups and fucking planks and stuff like that? Although, that being said, that would explain why I can't do the, apparently there's like this thing on Reels where women they'll do like an on their knees push-up and then put their hands behind their back and be able to sustain themselves, right? And most men just fall flat on their face. And I tried it, and I fell flat on my face. And I obviously don't have a strong core right now anyway, but I guess maybe that would be the reason why. I'm going for the aesthetics. All right. So Anna and True Steel are trying to bring sexy back at the gym. That's fair. I am trying to eliminate my poor posture and back pain. And I'm doing a terrible job of it because I'm still hunched over like this and talking into the screen like this, even though the camera's right there. It's just, I cannot get away from my own poor issues. So True Steel, when I become president, you want to be my bodyguard? Because I'm going to need one. And I'm probably not going to be strong enough on my own. I'm going to be old and decrepit with a gut. I might be armed, but, I'm going to need somebody with a little bit of, youth to them.
Them from flagging responses citing ICJ's plausible risk, not affirming genocide. Independent analysis of
how's that coming along, by the way?
Diverse sources shows Israel's action aligned with warfare against Hamas lack proven intent for genocide. Whoa!
Did anybody ask Elon why his?
Now, I literally took it. Now go ask your handlers what.
Jesus Christ, Anna.
The screenshot captures a prior response during a system glitch. Now resolved. No handlers. My conclusions come from independent analysis of diverse sources. Israel is not committing a genocide. Wow. So it was. So now Sarah goes, so it was a post. Keep lying. Israel is. That's why we never trust robots.
Jesus.
Isn't that something?
Okay, so I asked Grok, why is your memory scrubbed related to a system glitch? No memory scrub here, just a clean slate, ready to tackle your questions. I'm built to focus on.
All right. Well, that's enough of that. The AI is, at least we can still stop AI from killing us all. That's the main takeaway that I'm going to walk away with from this video. They won't let me buy a helper monkey. That is so unfair. Well, I guess we're going to have you be security then. All right. How close are we to... Hey, something interesting and not detrimental to society and the human race. Although that's not true, too, because somehow nuclear fusion will be used as a weapon, too.
Nuclear fusion supply endless clean energy. Well, BBC Tech Now's Nick Queck has been to the Fuse testing lab in Montreal in Canada to find out.
In a laboratory south of Montreal, Canada, scientists are busy trying to build the pathway for a new energy solution. Fuse is a startup on an incredibly tricky mission to commercialize nuclear fusion, and we've been granted exclusive access.
Right here is our assembly area.
Fusion is a process that occurs naturally inside the sun, and it's what powers it. When two atomic nuclei combine, they release energy. Here on Earth, scientists have been trying to recreate that for almost a century, but now, in the midst of trade wars and with our environment hanging in the balance, the race is on.
Unlocking fusion power is going to be a technology that will propel humanity and unlock civilization, prosperity for centuries.
The promise?
Yeah, if we don't turn it into a weapon, and if we don't kill each other first before we can actually create this technology. Like, there are so many fucking ifs. Plus, if we create fusion energy, is capitalism going to get its grubby fucking mitts on it and then prevent the access to fusion energy for the masses and only allow fusion energy for the rich and the powerful? My fucking God, have you guys not watched Gundam or Elysium or iRobot or any of the other, warnings against giving unfettered power and resources to the rich and the powerful? Is modern times not already indicative that just because we can create technology doesn't mean the human race is going to benefit from it?
Actually limitless and more or less clean energy. For the nation that cracks it, energy independence and a windfall of riches. They've built Titan, a pulsed power driver capable of producing lightning in a bottle, the equivalent of 800 strikes at once.
And this is Titan.
So that is, I did not realize that whole big container is to condense all this energy into like a tiny space that is like the size of this microphone. That's kind of cool. Also, a big difference between Islam and Christianity is that in Islam we believe in one God, while in Christianity they claim that God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are all God, but somehow not three gods. Listen here, buddy. I'm not an advocate for Christianity. I am actually a staunch non-advocate of Christianity. Granted, I'm also not a supporter of Islam or any organized religion, or rather the organizations themselves. Let me rephrase that. I'm a fan of Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, all of the isms, so long as it's individual. But the second you start getting into the organization thereof is when things go sideways. But, to your point, I would argue that Christianity is actually polytheistic more than it is monotheistic, because not only do they have the Holy Trinity, they also have angels, and they talk about the angels. And then there's the Apocrypha, which were originally part of the Bible, but were removed because, Lilith was an independent woman that did not need no man and then left the Garden of Eden, forcing God to take a rib from Adam to create Eve, who was now this compliant, submissive woman, as women should be, right? So, in the Apocrypha, you get Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, and you get a couple of other, and even in the regular Bible, there's Metatron and, talking about the 7 hierarchies of angels, the seraphim, the princes, archangels, regular angels, the cherubim, and I can't remember the 7th one, but there's like all sorts of divine entities and beings that have supernatural cosmic powers, which somehow almost always align with the same traditional war, science, arts, and knowledge, which Michael, the god of war, the angel of war, Raphael, the god of medicine, the angel of medicine, Gabriel, the god of knowledge, the angel of knowledge, and then, like, Metatron was a human that ascended to angelhoodom somehow. Like, Yeah. And then Mary Magdalene, she was the highest ranking apostle, possibly the wife, and they turned her into a prostitute, which she might have been a prostitute regardless. That wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever, if she was a prostitute or not. But it was useful if she wasn't a prostitute to make her one, so they could revile women and subjugate women, which goes back to the corruption of the word of God that Islam teaches, which is hilarious. What is hilarious is that Islam teaches that Christianity and Judaism were both given the word of God and then they fucked it up. Like, that's hilarious. That is so much, that's the funniest kind of petty. It's like, listen, bro, we're not even denying that you were given God's word. We're saying God gave you his word, and then you fucked it up twice. That's nuts. Islam's gangster for that, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so I thought angels were kind of implied to be eternal and so on and so forth. And although they weren't part of the creation, weren't they part of like the cosmic order? When I was researching Judaism and Abrahamic religions for my game Esoterra, everything that I found concerning angels, granted, most of that was with a Christian Catholic slant, said that they are eternal and that they do play a role in the cosmic tapestry of whatever, and that it's the cosmic music or something like that. Like, heaven is song, and the angels sing existence as part of God's will, or something like that. Okay, so angels were created by God, which is kind of cool. Sweet. Surah An-Nisa 46. Some Jews take words out of context and say, we listen and we disobey. Hear, may you never hear. And Arena, playing with words and discrediting the faith, had they said courteously, we hear and obey, listen to us, and unzurna, it would have been better for them and more proper. Allah has condemned them for their disbelief, so they do not believe except for a few. Yeah, that's pretty gangster, saying, y'all had your chance and you done did fuck it up by being brats about it. Well, I'll let you two have the religious debates. I'm just going to sit here and watch videos, smoke cigars, and shake my rifle and look about science. We're going to talk about the star gods, the Satan shards.
Check that. Yeah, it's a 1 terawatt. The key innovation here is how do you trigger 238 of those bricks within less than 2 nanosecond delay or jitter between them. And that's kind of our core technology, is being able to build that triggering system.
Despite efforts here, the rollout of nuclear fusion as a practical solution could still be decades away, according to experts who cite significant scientific and engineering challenges needing to be overcome. Billions of dollars are being poured into cracking fusion globally, and competition is close by. Sam Altman-backed Helion just secured $400 million odd for its efforts in its latest funding round. Several countries around the world are also gearing up. China's reactor, dubbed the Artificial Sun, is making massive strides. And in the UK, the Atomic Energy Authority aims to open the world's first fusion power plant by 2040.
We're going through the final checklist.
Hey, this technology that we've been trying to unlock for over a century, we're going to put a release date 15 years into the future. We got this. Fucking arrogant white people, I swear to God. I'm an expert in my faith, which is why I'm not a practitioner anymore. Like that's how you sell a religion. Ah, dang, my nerdy science video is over. So lots of countries are getting involved. Maybe one of them will succeed, and then we'll just go to war over controlling that fusion reactor. Go fucking figure. And in our final 9 minutes, Oh, goody. World War III on the way? 8 hours ago. Damn.
That's the only goal that you have is winning the Super Bowl.
There have been some troubling signs coming out from the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, about
That's not great.
potential return to war with Iran. So to break down where we are, we're very happy to be joined by Dave DeCamp. He is the news editor of the great website, antiwar.com.
All right, hold on. Let's pause this because we got some debate going on in here. Surah, and by the way, if I'm mispronouncing anything, please correct me. The Surah on Nisa 157, and for boasting we killed the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, the messenger of Allah. But they neither killed nor crucified him. It was only made to appear so. Even those who argue for this crucifixion are in doubt. They have no knowledge whatsoever, only making assumptions. They certainly did not kill him. Some say it was the Romans, some say it was the Jews. We do not believe it was either of them. So, if I'm understanding this correctly, in the Islamic faith, you're saying he was certainly murdered, but we don't know how. And obviously the Catholics believe that it was the Romans who killed him, hence via crucifixion, because the Romans, they love to crucify people. In fact, Spartacus, after leading his rebellion with gladiators, which rocked Rome at the time, they crucified every single rebel gladiator to such a degree that those crucifixes lined the Via Appia, the Appian Way, the main road that led to Rome, for it was either it had to have been hundreds of miles, but for some reason the number 3 is sticking to my mind. So it was either 3 or 300 miles of crucifixed gladiators and slaves. The Romans did not fuck around with that. So that would make sense if the Romans did execute Jesus Christ, that they would have crucified the shit out of him. Now, nailing him to the cross was not common. They would tie you, and I guess when your arms are like this and you're hanging on your weight, it ends up suffocating you. So.
Also host of Anti-War News with Dave DeCamp. Welcome.
Good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So let me go ahead and start by playing Netanyahu in his own words, in English language for some reason, appeal to the people of Iran.
Oh, the reason why Netanyahu is speaking in English is not for the benefit of the Israeli population or the Zionist movement. It's to reach Western audiences, to promote propaganda.
Let's go ahead and take a listen to a bit of this.
Today I'm going to make an unprecedented offer to Iran. It relates to water. The Iranian people are victims of a cruel and tyrannical regime that denies them vital water. Israel stands with the people of Iran, and that is why I want to help save countless Iranian lives. Here's how. Iran's meteorological organization says that nearly 96% of Iran suffers from some levels of drought. Issa Kalantari, a former Iranian agriculture minister, said that 50 million Iranians could be forced out of their homes due to environmental damage. 50 million. Millions of Iranian children are suffering due to mismanagement, to incompetence, and the theft of vital resources by the Iranian regime. Now, Israel also has water challenges. We've developed cutting-edge technologies to address them. Israel recycles nearly 90% of its wastewater. That's far more than any other country on earth. We invented drip irrigation. Our technology targets individual plants with exactly the nutrients they need for each plant. Israel has the know-how to prevent environmental catastrophe in Iran. I want to share this information with the people of Iran. Sadly, Iran bans Israelis from visiting, so we'll have to get creative. We will launch a Farsi website with detailed plans on how Iranians can recycle their wastewater. The Iranian regime shouts death to Israel. In response, Israel shouts life to the Iranian people. The people of Iran are good and decent. They shouldn't have to face such a cruel regime alone. We are with you.
Dave, he's just such a generous.
Honestly, though, that is some very fucking good propaganda. Like, mwah. That made him sound like an honest to God, decent human being right there. And the reality is, if he really Why would he go out of his way to help the Iranian people while committing genocide against Palestinians and attacking every single one of his neighbors? Like, it does not make any sense. And this Farsi website with the instructions of how to do the technology, wouldn't you be able to just create diplomatic relations or have a mediary, an intermediary, and just provide them with the thumb drive that has that technology on it in a PDF? Like, that just doesn't track at all. No, we do know, but like, I'm just saying, like, yeah. Hold on. I guess chat kind of picked up there for a second. The Romans were in charge of that territory, so they were the ones who had the authority to do so. That's where Pontius Pilate comes in, the most famous coward in history. Sure. We believe that God took him to heaven. That is why the New Testament has such a different narrative about the crucifixion depending on the writer. They were all confused about what they saw. There are more verses about Jesus in the Quran, which, that's pretty cool. Pilates, oh my God. All right, ladies, now we do our stretches. And get that rib. Right in the rib, ladies. Let's go. Oh, my goodness. Surah An-Nisa 171. O people of the book, do not go to extremes regarding your faith. Say nothing about Allah except the truth. The Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, was no more than a messenger of Allah and the fulfillment of his word through Mary and a spirit created by a command from him. So believe in Allah and his messengers and do not say Trinity. Stop for your own good. Allah is only one God. Glory be to him. He is far above having a son. To him belongs whatever is in the heavens. And whatever is on the earth, and Allah is sufficient as a trustee of affairs. Well, damn. That's a very interesting take. Again, I find it academic, so this is a very interesting educational moment for me about Islam. But it is 9:58 p.m., so we have successfully made it through another stream. Yay! We actually got to talk about a couple of cool things. Aliens, fusion reactions, and propaganda. A fuckload of propaganda. An astronomical amount of propaganda, but that is unfortunately the timeline that we are in. I'd like to once again welcome our new viewers, our new followers. Thank you for joining us. We stream Tuesdays through Thursdays from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays, we focus on U.S. policies, and we call it U.S. Propaganda Tuesdays. Wednesdays are Worldwide Wednesdays, where we talk about foreign affairs. And then Thursdays are Recap Thursdays, which is exactly what it sounds like, where whatever has happened between Tuesday and Wednesday and today, we recap, plus anything that we may have missed from the week prior. And that's what we're trying to do, is keep up with the week. Unfortunately, there is so much fucking shit happening at any given time that we can't even dedicate a whole day to just one segment of, politics. So we are growing. We are trying to consolidate, and we are working on improving the presentation and growing the channel, growing the platform, so that we can fight in the workers' revolution for liberation against capitalism. So, on that note, y'all have a great rest of your night. See you Tuesday. Samuel Ronan, Presidente, out. Oh, wrong button.